Are we live now?
That means we're
Yes.
stopping through time. Oh, you wrote that. Okay.
Yeah.
2-minute bathroom break. We began. Okay, yeah, I had to run from my laptop over here to our studio, and I went through the. I had to take a pee break on the way. So we are live then. I think if you just stayed out of space, we could blame Dime on the Russians. Man, this is my. It's green screen, so this thing that's green.
Oh, you can see the background through it.
You can see the background.
We're live in the Dino Room. Hello, everyone.
Dino Room. Yeah. So, coming from Tony's, Lester LeSabre. Hello, how you doing?
Welcome, Lester.
Yeah, it was kind of a quick run.
Oh, let's go back and quickly say hello to everyone who's come in.
Everybody. Okay, Kim, you want to do that? I'm getting my drink together.
Danny
here.
Boyd was first. Good job, Danny Boyd. Lucy Seat is here. Welcome.
Lucy Seat, somebody new.
Yeah,
Hello.
that's a new name. Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoy the stream.
Let's say whole ranch. Hey, I've seen you on Tony's, but not here. Welcome.
Okay. Dean Stevenson, one of our regulars. Good to see you. Danny Boyd, I think we already said hello. And Lester LeSabre, who we already said hello to, and I'm so glad I'm the only other dinosaur. There you go.
Who said that? So glad. Oh, that's Dean Stevenson. I mean, the Dino Room, which I thought was silly. I got a drink tonight that's green. Can we see through it?
Yeah,
do see through it.
No room to put it up there.
Holy
The dinosaur's
crap.
head. Put it up there.
Where's the dinosaur's head? You can see through my drink. You know what this is? It's some kind of new Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Baja Blast Mountain Dew, and it's kind of greenish color. And so you can see through it. That's weird.
Well, we have the water feature here. That kind of keeps the dinosaurs, back from us a little bit. Plus, we're kind of old and chewy. They're just really not that interested in us.
See, Roma, you're new here. Welcome. And Wayne, new here. Welcome. It's good to see people here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do a live every Tuesday night. And Ari, who I've kind of become friends with, who's one of Tony's, what is he?
He's his regular follow-up.
Well, yeah, he does the Ari does the after the Tony show, but Ari has he said his Sunday nights turned into his family night, so he's
but he'll be back when there's time.
He said he might even stop in here tonight. So we're gonna do this tonight, and then we also do occasional lives when we're in the shop. We're just working on something. We turn the camera on, and sometimes you don't see much except you hear us talking, and I'll sit there and talk, and Kim works a lot harder than I do.
We're just kind of spitballing. We're seeing what works, and sometimes we do the stuff from the shop, and it's really hard to work and record and live stream. You kind of have to pick and choose, and some work is just really hard to turn into a video, so then you live stream. Anyways, we're just trying stuff. And Tony was gracious enough to sort of give us a plug because Ari is off for the time being. So, thanks for being here.
So the new people here who are...
That is not dragon breath. That's the volcano. It's a little bit grumbly.
Well, is he blowing that out or sucking it in?
He's sucking it in.
Okay.
Yeah, the real reason that the dinosaurs... Oh, yeah, I gotta look that up. Go ahead, you talk for a second.
Okay, so, see, Roma, new person, what, and Wayne, I want to know what you have, what you all have. You have, what kind of cars do you have? What brings you here? Dougster Wolverine Garage. Have no fear, the Dougster is temporarily here. You never said temporarily before. He usually just says, the Dougster is here.
Where is
Hearing protection in the Dino Room.
Hold on a second. We're gonna go to a different background.
We're gonna go to a different background. Okay.
Yeah, and we're gonna see the real reason dinosaurs became extinct.
What is this?
It's a Far Side cartoon. See,
Oh,
they're smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't think it's funny?
I don't know. I guess. So, what we've been doing, we're just like Tony. Got too many projects going. I don't know if we're just like Tony, but we have too many projects going. But our main project that we're going to take to No Name Nationals, we hope, is most of you already know, but for the new people, it's a 72 Valiant. It's a 4-door. It had no engine in it when we got it. Tony, actually, it was kind of Tony's car, and then there was another guy. They were working together, and
but that's old business that we don't need to rehash. But we were given the car. It was time for it to find a home.
There were two people involved in it. We made deals, and we got the car.
Right.
So, and then Tony gave us some engine parts. Slant 6 parts that were
all the engine parts.
Well, not all of them. Mismatched.
Oh! I didn't mean to do that.
They were kind of mismatched, and we bought pistons.
Oh, it was a basket case. It came in a bucket. A bunch were in the trunk.
Rusted.
Tons in the back seat.
So we bought bearings and pistons and rings, and Kim ported the head. You can look back on my channel and see where there's one video on there. I think if you do a Google search, you'll find it, where she ported the head, and she was going to clean up a couple little spots, and she ended up doing a full-blown port job.
Well, you know.
And then let's see. So
it was a couple hours.
Just bringing people up to date. We put the engine in the car. We got the car running. You can watch all that. And then we drove it, and it was probably the worst handling car I'd ever driven. So for my birthday, Kim bought me a box full of parts. It was all the front end parts. So we've been working on that. And that was last couple of lives. But we got the left side done. Then we had to move the car out. And now we're going to do the right side. But in the meantime, there's something else we got to do. But we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that Valiant pretty quickly. There's an engine you got to pull. So,
I mean,
T-Rex.
In the meantime, in between sections of working on the Valiant, I have done a bunch of things. Because I am, what's that called when you cannot focus? I don't do that. I go this way, that way, that way, that way, that way, that way. And we've been working on the shop. We have done a ton of updates and additions to the shop. I'm noticing that I didn't turn all our lighting on. No wonder it's so dim. People, I'm so sorry. Oh. We were so busy with, we're not made of money here, so we can't have all these lights on.
Is that
much
okay?
brighter? Much
that's
brighter.
Okay. Yeah. That's okay.
Oh yeah, you can see us good now. Okay.
I think so.
Look, you can see the pattern on my shirt.
Currently a 73 Dodge van, 318, 03 Buick V6. Oh, and an 03 Buick, not anything to do with the 73 Dodge van. So, Hollow and Drab, hey, you're here, good to see you. So, let's see, Hollow and Drab, you made some comment on here when we were working on the Valiant. On the front end, there was a gusset bracket that should have been welded, and it was not welded properly in the factory in 1972, so for 52 years it's been broken loose. So I don't know if you were here since then. Kim clamped that all up with some wood and big C-clamps. I welded it, and no, I wasn't upset with the people that messed it up. It was just a what is that? That's not ours.
No, but that's like the Valiant that we've been working on. It looks a lot like what we've been working on.
So anyway, it's properly welded now. And then we went and bought some Valiant parts from another guy that's parting one out. And I stuck my head in there and looked, and his on the left side has a piss poor weld as well. So now I'm looking at all of them. Some of them are welded real well, some of them are not. And so ours are welded real well now, so I don't have to worry about it falling apart. Silence in the court. The dyno wants... Yeah, we have a dyno room. Let's see. I was more commenting on house standards maybe changed. Oh, I don't know. I think what happened with that is it was probably the last car on a Friday afternoon, and they reached in there and bzz, done off for a beer. I don't know. It was not a very good weld.
You know what else is the guy on that side? Maybe that machine was going bad and they just kept running it, or maybe he had more welding to do, because that bracket for the engine mount is bigger on that side. So maybe he felt like he was getting getting
well, there
mistreated.
Because
Because there was probably one guy on either side of the car going, or maybe it was a robot and it was programmed bad.
I doubt it was a robot then.
'72.
There were several welds on each side of the car, and the ones on the driver's side were not good at all. So we fixed them. The one on the passenger side, or she says the drinker side, they were all good. So we didn't have to do anything with them.
Well, good night,
So anyway,
Dexter. Thank you for stopping in.
Wait,
We'll be here Tuesday a little bit earlier if you want to come
Good
visit.
night. Okay, well, maybe we'll see you Tuesday night or on one of our impromptu in the shop lives that just pop up. So, yeah, good. Thanks for being here. And let's see. So that kind of brings you up to date where we're at with the projects. It's a VH. See, you have all these VH, VG, V, all these different things. VH, Valiant, Charger, RT. Wow. See, and I like all these Australian A-bodies because they're so different than ours.
Oh, I think
they're the same.
He's looking
but
at
they're
this
not.
one.
Yeah, right. They're the same structure as ours, but they're different on the outside. Man, we just didn't get those. What a nice car that would be. Yeah. Well, and of course they put the windshield wipers backwards and they put the driver on the wrong side. But I learned to drive like that. Oh, I drove like that in England. But my whole life in England was a mirror image. It was a little weird at first.
Oh, we're going to hear a pickup line.
Going to hear a pickup line. Teenagers always pick up line. Subject dude has been screwing up his courage all evening to come up and say, oh. Chickaboom, yeah, okay. It's a combo AM FM CB antenna on there. Is it what is this? Is it combo? What are we looking at?
But speaking of CB antennas, we were working on CBs today.
Okay. One of my little hobbies in the background is I have some old CB radios, but I don't think we want to talk about CB radios in here. It's just like so we can talk when we're.
We might. Maybe we'll have a CB radio night.
When she and I are working around here, we run up the store, up to the co-op, or somewhere that's within CB radio range, and it's nice to be able to just grab the radio instead of driving down the road poking at a phone, you know. I'm a clinical psychiatrist, and you're my kind of girl. At which point he passes out and falls like a sack.
I don't know what that even means.
American design within Graham Smith. The potatoes made a valid statement. I don't know what all this is. You should have said I'm not even going to read all this because I don't know what it all means. Why do we never get the best cars from the other countries? Yeah, why do we never get the best? You know, Kim and I were looking at tonight. Tavo's not in here tonight. I was hoping he'd come in here.
It's different time for him.
Yeah.
He's not used to us.
Yeah, Tavo. So you're scrolling right.
Sorry.
You're scrolling away from where I'm going. Okay, so Tavo is in Australia, and he sent me a bunch of pictures of some Valiants and some Dimensions and things. And we were looking at them. I go, man, the taillights look a little better. They look kind of like, what did I say the taillights look like? They look like Barracuda taillights, and the front ends look a little different. And I think Australia got some good looking A-bodies. Tavo's charging his batteries. Tavo, tight ass Valiant owner. Yeah, he's a big time Valiant owner down there. And he works on his cars and welds and fixes and he built if you watch his videos, you see he built a one of those 6-cylinder Hemi 6-cylinders in that they have in Australia. And it's kind of an interesting build. And so, of course, I watched all the...
It's neat to see because it's just different.
I wouldn't mind some shortwave antenna advice, though. Honestly, I have a nice set here, but I must make aerial. Are you really... You're into shortwave... You have a ham license? That's something I... You know... I really got into that. I took a class, and we were like real close to the end of the class, ready to take the test, and the the virus hit. So
Don't talk about it.
so they didn't let us come into class anymore, and we couldn't take the test. And I went to back to work for 30 days to 90 days. It ended up being 2 years. So so much for my ham license. I still may go do it. I don't know. That's a bunch of money for ham radios and everything. I got some old CB radios. Maybe that just gives me the whatever it is with radios that I like. Oh, I know you're nothing about it, but just have a receiver thingy. Yeah, if you just have a receiver, pretty much a wire antenna will work. You don't need to do any matching or.
We were
You're
doing.
not
He was trying to
transferring.
teach me all about antennas today, about ground planes and quarter length. I don't know. I'm trying to learn.
Quarter wave antennas and all this kind of stuff. Shortwave
And we
is
were
great.
practicing. He was going out to and queuing up the radio in the car so I could listen in here because we have several radios and some of them work, some of them don't. Okay, we got
See,
lots of comments.
Shortwave is great. My mate is a GPS system engineer. He's a diehard ham radio junkie. See, and there's a live on Thursday nights that I go into, and it's all radio stuff, and that's kind of my one night a week that I'm not messing with cars. The rest of the time is cars. And when I was young, it was cars, but then my whole middle part of my whole career was aircraft design, and it's so good kind of to be away from it and doing cars. Guys,
You got to read the
an
comment
indicator.
above it before.
Oh, my dad, morning flight to Vegas. I'm on.
Hello, Mr. Landon, Custom Classics.
Wayne, I just ordered a multi-band receiver to get my feet wet. Wayne, where are you? And yeah, I've had shortwave receivers my whole life, and that's what put me to sleep at night. I'd turn that on and find some station out. This is prior to the internet. I'd find some station out, halfway around the world where they're speaking English, and I'd listen to it, and it'd put me to sleep. Oh, Texan PL880. I'll have to look that up. Yeah, I know what Texan radios are, but I'm what are we looking at there?
I was just.
That's Atlanta Custom Classics. See, he's a guy that does a lot of Thunderbirds.
I was just watching something he was doing. I'm trying to think of what it was.
I've been watching him recently. Yeah, there's the one, Cold Start, and some other things. Yeah, he's I'll drop if they don't mind them sounding.
Oh, he was just doing the VRS thing. That was very interesting.
VRS.
Yeah, that new VRS car.
Oh, yeah, the carburetor. Yeah, sure. I knew he was doing that. And you have antenna. Do you still need to know Morse code? No, in the U.S., I don't know about the rest of the world. The U.S., they got rid of the Morse code for the technician license. Well, there used to be a novice license, but they did away with that. So the entry level is a technician license, and they did away with the code for that, and then they did away with the code for all of them. But there's still people that are really into code. I know a guy here that's what he loves to do, is go out in his car and set up an antenna and sit there, and he and his wife copy code. Kind of interesting. Oh, you're in Vista, California. Okay, when I was a kid, my neighbors down the street had 13 kids. Oh my God. Can you imagine going to the grocery store? 13 kids? In an early
That sounds
early
expensive.
70s extended passenger van like Dodge, like that. Blue and white. Oh, yeah.
This one?
Okay,
No.
I used to have a boom box. Oh, they made a
This
big. They made one like that, but it was like it had a big bumblebee ass on this big long thing. I almost bought one once. Let's see here. I missed something. I'm reading forward and back. Let's see. I used to have a boom box with some shortwave stuff. What's out? They're changed, I guess. Yeah, here's what happened is when the internet came around, all the, a lot of countries like the Soviet Union back then and China and Cuba, they all had shortwave stations, and that was their, that's how they reach out the world with their politics. Well, now it's all online. So there's, I guess, Radio Havana is still out there, I think. I haven't listened to them forever. So I got kind of into the amateurs where they're communicating with each other. And CB radio, there's still people that do that. So it's a lot quieter than it used to be.
What's the name of that guy that you oh shoot, that you watch on YouTube that does the radio stuff?
Oh, that's 390 Wagon Master. Yeah, go to 390 Wagon Master if you're really into. But his is CB, but he also has a ham license. But he's a Thursday night. Yeah, that's the guy. 390 Wagon Master.
Yeah, he does a live Thursday night, and he always likes to go there. It's a fun thing to do if that's your interest.
Yeah, if you're into that.
So we're not going to spend all our time on it because we're really still learning. I don't know anything, and I don't know, you know more than you let on.
Too, but I think they changed the. No, they didn't change the frequencies. There's still 40 channels, still the same frequencies. There's people that go what they call out of band, and they go above and below the frequencies, which isn't legal, but they don't seem to be stopping anybody. But no, the frequencies are still the same. Yeah, that's the long Dodge van. There you go. That's what I say. It looks like it has a big bumblebee ass on it. I almost bought one of those, but it didn't have any windows in it. I was going to make a camper out of it, but, new van back then, that's a lot of money. I did something else. Ellis Feaster, what is that? It's not in, tell you what, Edelbrock BRS 4150 is a game changer. Yeah, I watched that whole thing that was done with Andy Wood. Pretty interesting stuff. Hey, John Wilburn.
Yeah, hey, John.
Oh, yeah,
welcome
John.
To the stream.
John Wilburn is a Dodge van guy, and back before they were Ram vans, used to be Dodge. You're supposed to get out of the way of stuff. Not Ram. I mean, they really mean business now.
Get them.
I mean, I'll put in the truck. Then we'll have walkies. Yeah.
I'm excited to get some of these V8s running. I have the 360 for the. That's coming out of the old blue Dodge, and that has been a push to the front of the line. That's going to happen this week. We're going to pull the 360, and that will be hopefully have a 4-barrel carburetor on it. So maybe we will look at a VRS for that, or potentially the 350 Chevy for your Studebaker.
He's right. Dodge van, then Ram van. Yeah.
Man.
It's like. You remember a game called Dodgeball? They never had Ramball.
Yeah, that sounds even more aggressive and problematic. But the VRS, and it's interesting to see other people use the VRS, and I think that for me, as a creative person who likes to build and does not necessarily want to have miles of wiring under my hood,
you can see through my drink because it's green.
It's a little bit of a relief that a major company has put in the time and energy and the money to develop a modern, featured, ready to run out of the box carburation solution. So I'm excited, and the people who know say that it lives up to the hype. So congratulations on that acquisition, because I know it cost you probably as much as some of the vehicles that I own cost me.
Lucy C, thank you. She's just hit the like button. Okay, Lucy, what do you have?
Thank you.
What kind of vehicles do you have? Kind of interested.
Yeah, tell us about your interest. What brought you here?
Well, I just started seeing her on Tony's stuff, okay. And then she's here.
Well, great. Good. Glad you came. Hope we can be entertaining.
I assume I don't know.
We're trying to be pretty community oriented with our stream because we can't think of any other good excuse to stream. I mean, we have stories and stuff like that, but really it's just about being entertaining for a little while, having some time to hang out with people, get to know people in the community, since we all live so far.
Battering ram. That's a name that Chrysler hasn't used on their trucks.
Battering ram? I think that's the 450. I think it's pretty much the battering ram.
They build them they build a 1.5-ton truck. They could call it a battering ram. Beers cost $50.
Slant Daily is Shane, and he works for companies that develop and market the VRS. So he did put his on a Slant 6, and he was nothing but hype for it. So I'm glad. My VRS cost $50 more than I paid for the car. See, that's the only downside. But if you're going performance, and if you compare the cost of a really good carburetor to the cost of a baseline electronic fuel injection system, you find quickly the carburetor still looks like a pretty screaming deal.
What did I just say that we were buying for the Valiant? I said it's worth more than the Valiant. What the heck was it? I was just saying that today. We were out
Professor
there.
P, yes, thank
Professor
you.
P, yes. Yeah, Shane Polito. And John, were you?
Fun, intelligent, entertaining guy.
You were there? No, you weren't.
And we
When
have
they
John
went-
to thank for making the introductions with that guy, because he really.
When Andy went through the factory where they built the VRS, that was a very interesting video.
Yeah.
And I think John I'm sure he watched it. But they were just on a video together with John and Andy and David Vizard, which was a good thing.
I like the lives that we do in the studio because I have a couple of hours beforehand it's an excuse for me to settle down and brush the leaves out of my hair after being laying on the ground underneath a car today.
I was busy in the house. What was I doing? We'd both been outside. Then I came in the house and I was doing something. And you said, I got to go back out there. And you went out there and you were messing with that truck, trying to move it, get it so you pull the engine out. She comes back in. She's got leaves in her hair, leaves and like little branches all stuck to her back and everything. And I'm like, man, you must have been underneath something.
Danny Boyd says that the carburetor holds fewer mysteries than any EFI. I disagree, but the carburetor generally holds far fewer wires than EFI. So, but a good carburetor doesn't really require you to know any of the mysteries. You just stick it on there and it does its magic.
I like both, but if I got to work on it, I'm a carburetor points guy. It's just, I started working on cars in 1970, and and then I had automotive businesses up through 1988. So I'm a old school guy. But it's not that I don't like the new stuff. I just don't like working on, like my Mazda. It runs beautifully. It gets super good fuel economy. But all the electronic gizmos in the car don't work right. And this stupid thing that, like a little switch to put the parking brake on, twice that thing has activated just while I'm driving. All of a sudden, both back tires lock up because the parking brake just decides to come on, And I've had it back to dealers, and it's intermittent, and they can't find the problem. And I've had it back to 3 different dealers. None of them can find the problem. So now when I drive around, I'm kind of concerned that the parking brake will come on. That sucks, And so I don't like electronics for that reason. I kind of like the old zzz with a cable. That's not going to come on by itself, So I don't know, old school.
See, fuel injection is some fancy stuff, and I really enjoy it. And sometimes I just want to get my head in there and really like that Subaru, I didn't mess with. I put everything back the way it is, and I knew, okay, this is the oil pressure sensor, this is the cam position sensor, this is the crank position sensor, and I knew what all those things were, so that if I had a problem, I could code it out of the computer stuff. But there's sometimes I don't want that. That's not every project. I don't want to be that every time.
I'm gonna talk about Kim for a second. She really surprises me sometimes because she's old school, works on all the carburetors and fiddles with all kinds of little mechanical stuff, like a clock in a car. I'm sure she could get an old clock working, But then we have a Jeep that's an '08 Jeep, and some red light comes on the dash, check engine thing, and it's buck going down the street. You won't go over like 5 miles an hour. So I get out my laptop with OBD2 connector, and she connects it up, and it's electronic Jeep. She figures it out.
Let's drive by wire. It told me. I forget what it said the code was, and I was like,
She went straight to the problem and fixed it. She ended up taking the throttle body off and cleaned it, put it back on, and it still did it. So she took it back off and took it apart, and there's 2 plastic gears in there, and one of them's got all the teeth sheared off of it. It's like, okay, she went right to the problem. So we bought another throttle body, and she installed it, and it runs perfectly. So, I don't have the patience with the electrical stuff, but she does, and it amazes me she could just adapt to that so quickly. See?
Thank you.
You're pretty good with
He
just
says
about
nice
anything.
things.
She's pretty sharp.
I don't like the problem that I don't like is when I run into, because we go through a lot of different vehicles, and when I encounter, like, I have a Dodge, is it a Dakota, the black one, a Dakota? I
Yeah.
got it, and
Yes.
somebody had opened up all the wiring harnesses, and some of the relays were cut, and there's a bunch of stuff spliced. I can't work with that. I have to figure out some substitute that will make that function properly. And the same with the revival on the Bronco. The wires were burned in a fire.
Okay, 2 comments on here.
Go ahead.
Kim is proper fix-it lady. Kim has a channel of her own called Kim Fixes Things, if nobody's aware of that. And there's some really good stuff on there. Okay.
Thank you.
See, I saw Kim on her channel before I met her, and then I met her at the.
Then he stalked me and tracked me down
Well,
and asked me to move to Tennessee and
Wait a
work
minute,
on cars
wait a
with
minute,
him.
slow
And
down.
I said, that sounds cool. Yeah, let's do that.
I was thinking about kind of stalking her, but what happened was
You
we
kind of stalked
we
me.
were both going to the No Name Nationals, which I thought was pretty cool because we both already had our tickets before that all happened. So I met her at a drag race. That's pretty cool. And then the next comment was his drive-by-wire. Man, I'm years and years working on military drones. When I started working on airplanes, everything was like 2-cycle engines, or the good expensive ones, or 4-cycle magnetos, spark plugs, really mechanical stuff, controls that were all push-pull rods, cables, all that. And by the time I got through the end of my career, everything was fly-by-wire. Everything was electronic. Everything I worked on was like a flying robot computer. And so I do know how to work on that stuff. I mean, my whole life was fly-by-wire airplanes for the last, 16 years. Whatever, when was it? I went to work for them in 07, so it's 17 years. So now I'm kind of went back in my life and kind of remembered how much fun I had in the late 60s and early 70s, and I'm really enjoying the mechanical side of things again. Yeah, look at that thing.
Danny Boyd, the reason for the fly-by-wire is fuel economy.
Oh, I remember.
You tell, I want more now. In a carburation system, it's going to squirt a bunch of fuel down there, and with the throttle wide open, there's a huge variation in the vacuum signal, and they have to shoot a bunch of fuel in there, or else you get that big flat spot and then a big surge, and people don't like that. So the fly-by-wire, you tell more, and it knows exactly. It can control, it servo controls that valve and the extra pulses on the fuel injectors and everything.
Mechanical redundancy. Okay, I'm not going to say that, but all right.
It's not mechanical redundancy. It's like
They wouldn't let us use linear.
that precision
potential.
allows a catalytic converter to survive.
So the Ministry of Social Development, that sounds like something I wouldn't like right there. Then all the good parts because they thought we'd make munitions launching units. And if you wanted to make something like that, anybody that's got the desire to make something can make something. All physically connected steering. Oh man, some of these new cars, what is it now? There's no mechanical connection with the steering. I'm amazed that we can have that stuff on the road. Of course, you get in a new airliner, that's what it is. And I'm not even comfortable riding in some of these airliners because...
With a brand new car, with a warranty, somebody else is responsible if something fails, all new parts, and I just want to get in and start it in the cold or warm or any day of the week, go anywhere. All this fancy stuff's okay, but for my hot rod, I really don't want it.
There's stuff I don't trust, and I don't the electronic stuff. But I want to. There's not a lot I can talk about my work, but I'll say this: all those drones that I worked on were all fly-by-wire, and some of them are big airplanes, and really big airplanes, and they're all fly-by-wire. They're all controlled from a ground station, and all the years I worked on that, there were times we lost communications for a few minutes, but there's a flight plan already there, so it'll continue to fly, and when we reestablished communications, we always were able to land it. We never once lost control of an airplane because the fly-by-wire failed. So, and that's amazing to me. So
I really
guess,
don't like the whole drive steer by wire. That I'm not really all big on that.
Teslas, I think, have mechanical links. I don't remember who it was. We got to get Ari. Maybe Ari will show up. I don't think it was. See, Ari works for. What's the truck he works for? The electric one. I can't remember names of stuff.
Yeah, but real flying saucers aren't built in Chinese factories.
Yeah, there's no mechanical linkage. My car's
It's not low bidder work. Flying saucers.
Buff has a spool of copper wire. There's what's the truck where Ari works? The electric truck.
A mechanical link to burning your house down. Thanks, John. Yes.
Yeah, we've lost lives over hydraulics. I've been around aircraft and accidents, investigations, all this kind of stuff. Almost always there's errors that somebody has made. And when there are problems, the first thing you do is you go to the checklist for that problem. And usually you can work your way through it. If you have problems close to the ground, that can be a problem. I don't even want to get into all that.
Yeah, our Jeep is a drive-by-wire, though.
Oh, it's Rivian. Yeah, the Rivian. Didn't the Rivian have something that's the steering? Is it the Rivian that had the steering that was fly-by-wire? I don't remember.
I don't know, but aircraft are mass-produced, sort of like cars, and they are running into issues with low-bid contractors doing substandard work and causing issues. We see it because he has his finger on the pulse of those kinds of things.
Rivian seems like they could actually make a practical light delivery truck. They are working on a light. Isn't FedEx or somebody going with a Rivian?
The crazy thing about it is why they don't need to. Internal combustion engines work really well. They've been really well refined over the years. In liquid fuel, you can use electricity to produce liquid fuels.
Well,
I mean, it's energy. It's in one state liquid or in one state where you use a solid. It's just storage of energy. I mean, liquid fuel is a very practical thing. You can charge your car with liquid fuel, gasoline, or ethanol in just a few minutes, whereas batteries... But it would be a big deal, but there's already a system in place to fuel your liquid fuel. It's crazy. I know why,
It says here, Dean Stevenson, a wrong line of code, the programmer was summoned. I used to say this, we'd have a problem with an airplane and, you got to mess with it and you get it under control and you bring it back and land it. And my comment was always, well, I guess there's a 0 where there should have been a 1, because everything's code, it's ones and zeros. So all it takes is a 1 where there's supposed to be a 0 or a 0 where there's supposed to be a 1. All we got to do is find it.
Well, it is a lot easier to sort of sweep automotive things under the rug. And then the other thing is, when you break down in a car, you kind of like stop. But when you break down in an airplane, you fall out of the sky. So it's a lot harder to hide that kind of aircraft. But there's a lot of layers of quality control in the maintenance of aircraft and
Danny
the whole
Boyd's saying
thing.
something. I want to.
Oh, what's
I got a story to tell.
Okay, let's change the
Okay,
subject.
and it's
Let's do it.
automotive.
Good.
I could probably charge my car with methane in a few days. Okay, here we go. I lived out in California. There was a guy there that worked for a small city, and he did maintenance kind of stuff. And one of the things he did maintenance on was the sewer the sewer treatment plant of the small town. So they were venting off the methane. So he made a system on his Chevy pickup. He had a small block Chevy and like about a 1960 or 61 Chevy pickup. And he made a thing so it would burn methane. And then he found a way that they were venting the methane off this sewer treatment plant, and he was compressing it, and he was putting a tank in his truck, driving it around. And he's doing this for quite a while. And everybody that knew, in automotive circles that he hung around with, all knew about this. Well, then somebody wrote a story about it, and it got in the newspaper. Then the city council, where he lived, found out about it, and they went after him criminally for stealing the methane that they were venting off. So the deal they made with the prosecutor made with his attorney was if he took the stuff off his truck, all the stuff he developed, and put it on one of the city vehicles and took the compressor and everything he was doing to get the methane gas and gave it to the city, well, I guess it was their gas anyway, they dropped the charges. So of course he did that. What did he get for it? He had to pay his lawyer. He got nothing for it.
Damn.
That was in the 80s. Yeah, I think it was, the stuff he developed was pretty cool. And, yep. So,
Man.
I got the job of testing our linear encoder road roughness meter at the roading company. I don't know what a roading company is. Roading, that's something in New Zealand, maybe? Oil companies.
Oh, who was asking us to send them illegal linear encoders? I don't think we can do that legally. I don't want to get you or us in trouble.
What's this?
There was somebody was up there. The Ministry of we're going back.
I'm scrolling. So I'm not keeping up with anything now.
They don't let us use linear potentiometers and linear encoders in New Zealand. The Ministry of Social Development banned all the good parts because they thought we'd make that. Maybe that's why they don't build them the same in other countries.
Scroll back. I don't know. All these people with all these stupid rules. I see.
I don't think we can send you illegal parts. Sorry.
Okay. And yeah, Rivian's making those big Amazon trucks anyway. Haven't seen one yet. I have not seen one yet either. You know what I did see?
We're sort of out far enough that they probably wouldn't use an electric truck this far out.
I was out blasting to Oregon. Oh, it was the year I met you. I was on my way to Oregon.
Ask your doctor if Rivian is right for you.
So I was coming back from... No, I was on my way to Oregon. This was in 22. And one of those Tesla big semi-trucks went by the other way, and I'm like, yeah, trying to see it on the way by, but you've seen the picture of the Tesla semi-truck. I don't know if there's one of them or many of them, but I saw it going eastbound on Interstate 80.
Oh, and Ari had a video just recently about a Cybertruck. He was in his... He was in his truck. What's his truck?
A 1960 Chevrolet. Okay.
Apache?
It's a Chevy Apache. 1960, one of my favorite years. And he had the Stone Bolt 6 in it, and he built a small block for it. And now it's a lot nicer truck. I think they don't want to make those because China would get them. Yeah.
What color is Ari's truck? Oh, that's cute.
Ari's truck looks like that, but it's white, I think.
He recently put a new motor in it and stuff like that. We enjoy him.
Oh, you're in Portland. See, I worked in Oregon twice doing some flight testing work.
I was in Portland for a month last year helping a friend move.
And I didn't go all the way to Portland. I was in what was the name of the place up there? I was on my memory, I'm an old person, I can't remember everything. It was Pendleton, Oregon, which is out in the very northeast of the state. It's actually closer to the Tri-Cities of Washington, but So I was there, and then she went to Portland right after I got back. She went to Portland to help a friend move. God, that Cybertruck is ugly. Let's see here. Aries truck is patina. Oh, there's something I don't like. Patina. His is nice patina. I've seen vehicles that got rust holes that are a foot in diameter, and people say it's patina. I go, no, that's rust. Salem, sweet. You know, back in the day when I was flying manned airplanes before all the drones, I used to fly a lot up and down the West Coast and up through Oregon and Washington and all over up that way, and central part of Oregon especially, Madras and what are all the little towns up in there? Yeah, I used to. Oh, you're in Salem, exit 216. Okay, and that's going up I-5, and I kind of been along there too. Eugene, I used to stop in Eugene a lot. Damn right, patinas on copper or brass. You know what? The first time I ever heard the word patina, I was building airframes, and some guy had me build some doors. He knew what I was welding tubing, so I got this square tubing. I built some doors for to be used in a mall between two stores, and he was an artist, so I built the doors, and then he came over and he cut out all these little brass leaves that he decorated these tubing doors with, and then he did something to them, and he goes, this is called patina, and it changed the color of the brass. And that was the first time I heard of patina, so that's what I thought patina was. The next time I heard of patina was some truck that had foot diameter rust holes in it. I'm thinking, that's not patina. That's a destroyed truck. Yeah, Bend. That's where I used to go. Bend, Madras.
We ought to get some shine
other
juice
stuff up there.
for the Green Revival truck this summer. It would look nice with some patina scrub on it.
Sure, all right. Yeah, 97. Is that Highway 97 that goes up through there? I think so. Because usually I was up in the air just kind of looking at that stuff, and then I'd land at all the small airports because that was a convenient place to get fuel without stopping
Hi,
at
Mexican
airports.
Specs. Thanks
Mexican
for stopping
Specs here.
in.
Hey, how you doing?
Feed the animals. Our cat sits outside the door and stares at us for
Okay.
food, so we understand.
And then if I go outside, the cat runs from us. The cat's a volunteer. It's kind of a stray that showed up, and I've been feeding it for a year, but she still kind of runs from me. But she eats the food. She stares in the door when she's hungry. Yeah, it's staring at me. I saw something else up there. Damn right, patinas on copper. Okay. The Queen's approved supply of Brasso. Oh, Brasso. I was in the Air Force. Everything we had that was brass, we had to polish with Brasso.
I remember using brass on the doorknobs at our house and stuff. My dad really loved his brass
There were these
collection.
big plates that were brass that you're supposed to touch with your hands to open the door so you don't touch the wood.
Mm-hmm.
But after you polish them, you learn never to touch those. If you touch them, you don't ever touch where you polished. So still to this day, I come up to a door and I see one of those, I touch the wood so I don't mess up the polish on the brass. Yeah, patina is used way too liberally. Dog scratch fever. Patina is mostly lame, especially fake patina. Oh man, I watched some guys take a 1953 Ford that had original paint on it. It looked original. It may have been, may not have been, but it was a nice looking car. They went over with like 400 or 600 with a DA and got it all down to the original primer and the metal, and they sprayed clear over it so it looked like patina. And I wrote them a comment. I thought they ruined the car. Because it was so nice before they did that. And they wanted to look like patina. What a bunch of bozos. I don't know, the young people like it, so I guess maybe that's what they like. I just don't like to see a nice original car have somebody do that to it to try to make it rusty.
The only place that I can sort of be okay with the fake patina is when it is like like Junkyard Digs just did a revival on a truck, and the one back fender was somebody had painted it, but the rest of the truck had a really nice patina, so he did some like faux patina to try and match to it. And like I could see where you would want to do that.
If you go
faking the whole thing after it was already good, or if it just needed painted.
If you go back and you look at some of our videos, you'll see one not too far back where I painted the hood for the Valiant, because the hood was black and I had a bunch of rust and old Bondo that was peeling off and everything. So I fixed all that. I didn't do much about that. I didn't video fixing it. There's plenty of bodywork video on YouTube, but I did the paint, and I did it cheaply with a water-based paint, and it came out, it looks just about like the original paint. And I said, this is real patina, because it looks like the original paint, but there's no metal or rust showing through. I fixed all that. So yeah, you can watch that video. It's kind of interesting, because I did a paint job for the paint. Cost me $21. That's how much money I have in painting that hood, and I got a lot of paint left over. I got enough I could probably do most of the car. So paint jobs can be done cheaply and can be done so they look pretty good.
We need to do some more body work, and then I want to shoot that car. I hope we can shoot some more of that car, maybe at least the front fenders for Power Tour, because that rust on the side of the one front fender just looks ugh.
EFOG 3, good evening.
Welcome to the stream.
You can try and convince us you're uncluttered swine, but okay. Uncultured swine. Okay, that makes more sense. Oh, yeah, what is my bracket? Yeah.
Right, it takes years of practice to be as uncultured and swine-like as us.
I like this. This is patina. I got patina. Gray hair.
That's false. He doesn't have real gray hair. He dyed it gray so he could look old.
It was real dark. It wasn't black, but almost. Then it started getting grayer and grayer, and I was picking the gray hairs out, but then I'm picking too many out. So I'm coloring it I'm coloring it pretty much black. And coloring it, you know, it's not that long, so it grows out pretty quickly. And finally I just went, that's enough. I just quit coloring it, and within about a week the whole thing was gray.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, Dean.
I had a green shirt on. Oh, I still have green on because of this thing, but you see through it because we got a green screen.
Oh,
so I do have some green on, but it shows through. Handlebars, you know, these are. What are you doing?
I'm just happy St. Patrick's Day.
You're making it rain green.
Yeah.
Green.
We'll try it and see if we can get it to do it again. Right. There you go. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
How did you do that? Man, she's got all the
there. Fancy. I'll do it again.
Fancy computer. Fancy computer stuff over there. What are you gonna show? What else are you gonna show?
I don't know, but I'm trying to keep it actionable.
I didn't bring my little hard drive in here like I usually do with all the pictures.
No, we're not as organized as a Tuesday night.
And you also, Kim, and you fog 3. What did I miss? What did I miss? What did I miss? Brands Hatch Green. This whole St. Patrick's Day. I didn't even know St. Patrick's Day till I went to Walmart today.
And I had to make him take the green off because of the green screen.
Yeah, if I wear,
he'll look like a floating head.
I had kind of a medium green shirt on, and if I come in here with that on, it just disappears. I just look like a head floating around with no body. So what are you doing? I used to rail against redheads.
Wait, that's not a handlebar.
I used to rail against redheads. I like redheads. I never had a beard. I got lazy and let my beard grow, and there's some red in it. Oh, geez. So, Mexican Spec, see, I used to have a big old beard, and I just had enough of it when it was all gray and nasty looking, and I shaved it back to this. Well, I've had this now for 20 years.
Are you sure yours is a handlebars? Because they're saying this.
That's handlebars. Mine is called a Fu Manchu, I think.
Oh.
Look up Fu Manchu. Except, you know, what's his name from, he has a real thick one, the guy from the, Ooh,
Shoot.
man. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, brother. There you go. Who's the guy from the motorcycle show?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, was Paul Sr. Yeah, Paul Sr., I really liked his, but mine will never be that thick and that good. Yeah, Paul Sr.'s got a good mustache, but mine will never be that thick. Just the hair isn't that thick.
Some hairs that light up red in the sun. Danny boy, that is common, that brown hair tends to fade to red.
Okay, you want to know something really stupid I did? When I was like in my late 20s, I said blondes have more fun, and I knew a couple of girls that did their hair blonde, and one of them said to me, you know what, blondes do have more fun. And I'm like, really? And she had all kinds of guys chasing her, you know? So I thought, I had enough of this, so I did my hair blonde, and I had real dark brown hair. And you know what happened? It turned red.
Bright red, yeah.
It looked like your hair right now.
If you don't
It
use
looked
the right
redder.
chemicals.
It looked redder than that, and I was like really embarrassed. So I ran around for 3 or 4 days with everybody laughing at me because I turned my hair red, and then I colored it brown again. That was a mistake because I wanted to be. It was like a joke. I was going to be blonde because these 2 girls I knew turned blonde and had more fun.
Danny Boyd, we're not just going to put anything up on that screen. I think if we do that, we'll get flagged, so we're not going to do that. Plus, he has a security clearance. We have to be careful.
Ooh. Ed Begley Jr. Yeah, okay, let's get these men off here. Yeah, back out of it. Let's get some cars back up there.
Go back to car. Go back to cars.
That's what we do here, cars.
Cars. Oh, but I did the St. Patrick's Day thing. La. Okay.
The girly stuff.
No! St. Patrick's Day isn't girly stuff.
Older lady would be saying, "Are you going to cover that gray?" I'm like, "Not on your life. You have no idea how much trouble this saves me."
So I've got like roots, and it is not easy.
Don't show the
I'm
roots.
sorry.
You look. I've seen you with really blonde hair, and you don't do that anymore. But you were
Sometimes it's.
you were a hot-looking blonde.
Thank you.
I have family, but this looks good too, and yeah, this looks really good. I have family members with really red, orange hair, and also the friends. They all had.
What are you implying, Mexican spec?
Mental problems. We have mental problems. We work on old cars instead of taking our cars to the dealer and. Oh my God! Talking to my brother. Now my brother's not a mechanic.
Oh man.
And his daughter. Should I tell a brother story?
This is going to be a story.
So.
Wait. You're not going to tell about his daughter, are you?
I told a little bit about his daughter. His daughter has some newer Jeep that they bought used, and right away it was running terrible, and they took it to a mechanic, and they had to put. My brother said they had to put new camshafts in it, and it was $4,000. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that's a lot of money. And he goes, I've got the camshafts here. I can show you the bad ones. But anyway, he paid for the repair so his daughter could drive. Man, I new car for you. I don't want to pay for those kind of repairs. How much did it cost us to put the camshaft in the Slant 6? Not much.
We got the camshaft with the car.
And it cost us nothing to install.
What is it? It's a 262 comp cams 262.
I don't remember what it was. We got
a good cam with
you can look on the channel. You can see all about the cam. We've done.
It would take a while to find it.
You can look on the channel, find all the specs on the cam. I got to take a cough drop, or I'm going to start coughing. My throat is.
When I was very young, I had dirty blonde hair, but it got darker as I have matured. My hair has become darker, and then it started to all turn gray. That happens for some people. So now it's whatever color I tell it to be.
You're like Susie. Who's Susie?
I'm just happy that I still have hair because not everybody grows hair for their whole lives, which is okay, but I like that I have hair. I don't have any balding or anything like that, which is nice.
See Lucy Seats, your comment? Give me an old 3 on the tree and I'll be quite content. Kim has a 3 on the tree car.
Oh yeah, my 66 has a 3 on the tree,
Jesus.
and I never had a car with a 3 on the tree before, so it was interesting driving it up here from Murfreesboro when I bought it, which is like, what, about an hour and a half to get here? And I had never really drove one before, and I was very nervous. Once you're moving, it's easy.
You said you're 66. Tell a little about you. Nobody knows what 66 it is.
Oh, well, let me bring it up a picture while I'm talking about it. Talk for a second while I get a picture.
Okay. When we went to go pick up her 66, she didn't know how to drive a 3 on the tree, but she'd driven all kind of manuals on the floor. So I go, it's just like the floor, but it's up here. So she went through the gears like a couple of times, go, okay, I got it. She drove it up here like an hour and 45 minutes. Hour and 45-minute drive to here. Oh, I thought you had a picture of the real one.
I don't know where
the
it
actual
is.
One. Okay. She has 66 Dart.
Mine's a little bit more golder than this, but it's absolutely just like this looking. And it's lovely. And we've got all kinds of plans for it.
Hello, everyone. Twisted Mopar Garage, good evening. I earned the silver. That's right. I guess I earned it. I don't know. The whole thing from my whole career, I don't know. The thing went by in a flash, you know. But I guess I earned the gray. I guess I earned it. I don't know.
Mexican spec. I resemble that remark. Even the artificial, the artificial reddishness, and it's not dyed red. I think the contrast is a little bit.
You know something.
Well, it's brownish red.
You know something
I'm a little bit out there.
You know something about Dean Stevenson tonight.
What's that?
He did this in Tony's too, and now he actually tells about it. He says he's on a
an emoji fasting.
Fasting. He says he's already used 6, and you know usually he uses like 6 per comment.
Thank you, Lucy. I try to make it look natural. I don't want to scream like...
Oh, or she's like that, or she's looking at the car.
But you know what? Oh, that does look very nice. Yes, I like that this is like a rare sort of... I love these... what are they called when they have these like body lines that are like...
The chrome strips and all that stuff?
No, well, we don't have these chrome strips.
You mean those, whatever you call it.
The like stampings in them. Yeah. I love those. Like, his car is a 72, and it does not have the same flair to it. The like, it has so much character to it. I really love it. And I do love the 72, but the 66 is just amazing. And I don't care that it's a 4-door because it just, the lines are really good.
Scallops, yeah.
Scallops, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's what it's called. Sculpture. I don't know. Yeah. I'm sure there's some name for it. The auto design people. Man, I sat in drafting class in high school with 2 guys. One on one side, one on the other side. And the one on one side was designing airplanes. I was doing cars. And the guy next to me was doing cars. The guy on this side of me ended up designing, most of his life, laser printers for HP. I ended up designing airplanes. And the guy on this side of me ended up designing cars. And he worked for Saab for 2 years, and then he worked for Honda. And he led the design team on a lot of the Hondas, like the original CRX, and he was quite a guy. So... yeah, we were all going to be car designers and airplane designers, and sort of made it.
That does seem really strange that a Caprice would have a 3 on a tree. That's a neat comment. Thank you, Wayne.
Early 70s Caprice. Yeah.
Twisted Mopar Garage, the early 50s and 60s cars.
I like the styles of...
This was what was available
to me. 50 and early 60s.
I did purchase this car, mine, not this particular one, but mine, from Mopar Al through Tony. It was...
What's that? Oh.
My 66. They had it, and it was too nice to part. They bought it as a parts car, but it was too nice a running and complete car. Now there are some issues with my car has bodywork in the rear quarter here. It must have been in an accident in some point in its life because
So we're gonna have to fix that. That's not a big deal.
I mean, we're gonna have to do some stuff. It's not perfect.
Well, somebody did the body work and it looks okay, but it's older.
Yeah,
And
it's an older restoration.
Yeah, it's got some Bondo in the right rear quarter. So yeah, we'll have to fix it.
If they brought a lot of money, I wouldn't have it because I didn't have the money, and I don't really. This 66 I think is going to be mine. I'm putting some performance upgrades in it. We're going to mini tub it and put some independent rear suspension under it. Maybe put a 360 with an overdrive automatic transmission in it. And I know some people won't like that, but I want to be able to get in it and drive it and really enjoy it.
Twisted Mill Park Garages. I really like the 58 Fairlane. 57 and 58 Fords are very much the same. They're the same body, but they aren't. Same basic body shape, and the glass is all the same, but then the body style is a little bit different. I had several 57s. I really like 57s. I didn't have Fairlanes. I had the two-door station wagons, the ranch wagons. Man, I like those cars. Just three on the tree cars, 69 or 60 Chevy, 69
Which
Chevrolet,
wagon did
71
you have?
Maverick. Oh, look up 1957 Ford ranch wagon.
Oh, I butchered my.
Yeah, you put 67. 292 I6 was only in trucks here, I'm pretty sure.
Like that?
Well, that's a country squire. The ranch wagon is the two-door. See the blue one on the right? That's a ranch wagon, yeah. I never had a blue one, but I had several of those. 292 engine, 312 engine is what they came with, and then I had one with an FE, which was a 390 that was bored over we used to bore them 80 thousandths and then use 406 pistons in them, which made them 406 cubic inches, but they were not truly a 406, but they were 406 cubic inches. And you put fender well headers on them, do all the stupid stuff, three deuces, and
Ooh.
oh man, they
87 Celica, sweet
this?
car. I had
I'm
a friend
missing
with
something.
one years ago.
I'm missing this. What
So-
am I looking?
If you like an older Celica, I have.
Yeah, I know what those are. Man, I just bought something today from Brazil, and that's why I bought it as Brazil. I bought a frying pan, and the choice was China or Brazil, and the one from Brazil was definitely the best one, and I bought it. I like stuff from Brazil. Oh, what is that? Oh, that's your car.
I have one of these sitting on the back 40, and it is in line to get looked at on an upcoming future Will It Run. It's another basket case. The motor is like, oh, and here's an extra motor for it. So we bought it for parts. I bought it really cheap. But it needs a ton of. It has all those wires. Oh my God. It has wires upon wires, upon hoses, upon wires under that hood. But it is really sporty. And I'd love to see it go.
Lucy, my brother replaced the 383 out of the 68 Charger and put a 426 Hemi. Back in the 70s. Wow, yeah, that's quite a thing.
It is a 300Z, Lucy. I couldn't say no. I went and got it right away. He wasn't even home. He was out of state. I was like,
I went to Oregon and I came home and the yard's full of all these old cars. And what happened? Where'd all this crap come from?
But it was so good. I went to look at it with my trailer. You know it's bad when I take my trailer to go look at a car. And we made a cash deal, like, on the spot in Tennessee. They can just hand over the title. You can do it at 9 p.m. at night. It don't have to go to a notary or nothing. It was just like, here you go. And I was like, oh, yeah.
They're talking about opals. My favorite opal is the Opal Manta.
Oh, let's look at it.
And I really like them. And a lot of people like the Opal GTs, which I do like, but they're so, you know, I can't buy one of those. Everybody, they're worth a fortune. The Opal
Dan
Manta,
from DD's Speed Shop have
the Manta, look at the green one right there.
This one?
Yeah, that's an Opal Manta. Oh, it's behind us. Sorry about that. Oh, it's on eBay. What is that? Can you move us or move something?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of moving parts happening here. Oh, no, that's not the right one.
Les Sabre, I had a 86 300ZX new. They made everything as complicated as, like, yeah, they pretty much did, didn't they? My friend beat his 80 Celica. Like, it owed him money. The car seemed to like it. You know, I really like the original the original Celicas. I don't remember what years they were, but I really liked it. Kid in high school had a bright yellow Opal Manta. I really like Opal Mantas, and I worked on cars a lot back then, and I liked they were easy to work on, and the later model Opals that, like, into the 2000s were just a nightmare. Like what was an Opal that we got here was the Cadillac Catera. What a pain in the ass that thing was. Don't need notary here in Oregon. Yeah, I've lived in states where you had to use a notary, and I've lived in states where you don't. California did not. Here you did not, or you do not. I lived in Ohio. Ohio, I was buying and selling used cars. I actually became a notary when I was there because I needed to be. Couldn't do anything without a notary. Buying and selling cars and buying and selling airplanes. And needed a notary for all of it. Yeah, I think that's such a good looking car. And I like driving them. I like driving those things. They're not fast. They're just a nice car to drive.
Dean, I had one of those old Celicas, and somebody had ripped the toe off of so it just said Yoda, and it was painted all solid black, like flat black, and it had green beauty rings, like fluorescent green. All the trim was painted fluorescent green, so it just said Yoda on the back. And the front fenders, like entirely, like the entire thing was made out of hand-molded tiger hair, spray painted black. They just stuck it on there and spray painted it black, and the window was busted out, and I never got to drive it. Burned up the starter because the key it was a very old car, but I remember that thing. I remember dreaming about the day I would drive it, and it never happened. One day I was out, I think it was at the roller rink with my friends, and my mother had the car towed away while I was out. I was so sad.
Says here, they love them. They rusted so badly in New England, though. You know,
Yeah,
I grew up in the Southwest. So rust was just never a deal. And then I moved to Ohio, and I was looking for an older Nova, and there were some kids, they were like 17, 18 years old, went to the junkyard with them. We were looking for some cars, and all three of us are looking for Novas, and they opened up the door to Nova, and they got in. The first thing they're doing is stomping on the floor. I'm like, what are you doing? And then they're looking underneath for the pile of rust. I've never seen anybody do that. Of course, they break right through the floor. Oh, man. It's a cool factory power. Yep. I like Ontario. Perfectly chilly. Opel GTs were too small inside. Yeah, I'm small. I'm 5'7", and they were pretty tight, but I like those cars. Never had one, though. You know, they held their value so well. And there's so few of them now. Excuse me. There's so few of them around. John Wilburn liked the yellow. You know, there's people who like yellow cars and people that don't like yellow cars. And I kind of like yellow cars. Do you like where you are now in comparison? Mexico's free country compared to what the U.S. is now. Yeah, things have changed, haven't they? Although I don't feel good in Mexico either. I go to Mexico and I don't know. Part of it is my Spanish language skills are really minimal. So, of course, I'm uncomfortable in Mexico. But there's things I really like about Mexico. I'd like to go see Mexican Spec sometime, and he's kind of open to that. And I'd feel comfortable walking around with Mexican Spec, and that would be fun, you know, because then I'd be really comfortable. Man, those are good looking cars. Yeah, I think so. I'd love to find a Mana. Can you imagine a Mana with an LS Chevy in it? I don't think I've ever had a yellow car. God, I've had so many cars. Have I had any yellow cars? Yeah, that's the yellow color that kind of close to what they were when they were new. Huh. But if you go to the border, that's a different. Yeah, you know, in the border town where I go, look at this hat. See that hat? Algodones, which is right near Yuma, Arizona. I am really comfortable there because everybody speaks English. You do business in dollars or in pesos. Just so many Americans and Canadians there that the police aren't going to mess with you unless you do something really stupid. But when it comes to cartels and stuff, and I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm going to make language errors, and I don't know. I would be, if I go further into Mexico, I want to be with somebody that speaks Spanish, that's accustomed to all the customs and the laws and everything. So yeah, I'd hang out with you in a second. That would be a blast. I've talked about that, taking a Mexican bus, and the Mexican bus are nice. It beats the hell out of American Greyhound. Taking a bus down there to meet up with Mexican Spec somewhere and go look at some cars and maybe bring one back. But I gotta put some money away first.
You were talking about the 70s cars and the road salt. When they went away from the full frame cars, I think by the 70s they had really, really started throwing down the road salt. That stuff was corrosive. And growing up, I started driving in the late 80s, early 90s, and those cars from the 70s were just rotten. They were just no floors. The rockers would just fall out the bottoms. The trunks would fall, just like suspension. Unibody was so big, and just like all the welds, anywhere where two pieces of metal came together, and they got salt in there, it would just swell. My van is a perfect example of that kind of stuff. It's just like, wow.
Dean Stevenson.
They got some coatings now.
Dean Stevenson, Yellowstone. You're not right. I can't even read that. Okay. Let's see what Mexico. While I'm driving around, I feel no fear from any of the police departments here, nor the army driving around. Yeah, and that's
the army doesn't bother me.
You're familiar with
the military
everything.
Here is on task.
You're familiar with everything there, so of course I would be. I don't know. I guess it's the cartels. I don't understand all that, and so I'd be a little uncomfortable. But it's like I spent a lot of time in Russia, but I hung around with Russians that understood what was going on, and I spoke enough Russian so I could get by in a jam. If I got left alone, I could find the bus I needed to get on, or get on the metro, or I could get through airports. I could buy groceries, but mostly I hung around with Russians that understood the country and the customs and everything. When I visited Venezuela back in the late 2000s, I was uncomfortable, to say the least. The political, and you got a place that has political problems, yeah.
Oh gosh, and it hasn't gotten any better.
Late 80s, license free.
Rust jacking, yeah, we watched.
Dean Stevenson, I was restraining myself. But
yeah. Dean Stevenson was saying something about whistling diesel, and he's building that dozer.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to whistling diesel. I know there's a lot of people that like him, but I don't know.
He's one of those big channels that does big crazy things. That's a spectacle. People watch because it's a spectacle.
I like to see people build old stuff. I don't like to see people wreck stuff.
He does. He destroys things.
I mean, things are gonna get wrecked sometimes, but no sense in trying.
It's all about the spectacle. It's like people stopping to see a train wreck. They
What
just
is this
can't look
Danny
away.
Boyd rust jacking? What's he talking about?
Remember that's
I know
the
what rust
South
jacking
Main
is.
Auto. That's
I know what rust jacking is. I missed what the rust jacking is like on a brake pad where the rust gets under and it pushes the.
Oh, well, I was
pushes
talking
the
about
pedal.
any time two pieces of metal came
Oh.
together, they would swell.
Oh, yeah,
Rust
that
jacking.
makes a mess out of it.
Oh, and then you can't reconnect to it. You basically just have to cut it out, so you end up with flapping fenders and stuff like that. Ohio cars were notorious for that because they didn't have state inspections. So they have cars at the bottoms of the fenders, the bottoms of the doors that were just flapping the wind.
Mexican Spec says something here that's, where he is, who's there.
Uh-huh.
But he says it's very calm there. The cartel has been told not to bother the populace. It's bad for... So it's kind of like, what do they call it? Peaceful coexistence. And that's good. That's good to know. I only know Koshka. And I'm not sure what those words are. It's transliteration. It's supposed to be Russian. Yunny I don't know. Koshka's cat. Kotionik is a kitten. Let's see, I trigger speak. Car channels that just destroy things make me sad, and don't impress me. Yeah, I don't especially like that. But if somebody actually has an accident that's unintentional and they can laugh about it and then fix the car, yeah, okay. But where people just wreck stuff that's good stuff, I'm pretty sick about it. I mean, it's okay to talk, but it causes traumatic issues amongst our vulnerable emerging community. No, on branding. Branding. Let's see. Chapo was a local boy here. He was caught 1 block from my son's school. That was a wild night for my son's classmates. Oh, yeah. In the U.S., what they consider an emergency in the U.S., I was just reading. We're about to have a total eclipse of the sun. Well, I don't know if any of you have ever been in a total eclipse. I have been. It gets almost dark, and then within a few minutes, the light comes back, and it's like, it's just something that happens. And I've been in a few of them. So there's some counties in Texas that are calling it an emergency. They're not allowing the kids to go to school that day.
I told you to verify that. I don't believe that anybody's that dumb.
It is counties that have actually said that. And then in Ohio, it's some Department of Emergency Services in Ohio has said to stock up on groceries and gasoline before the total eclipse. It's like, what? Really? Are you kidding me? That's where Americans are at. That's an emergency. Wait till I have a real emergency. That's not an emergency.
Branding is making a Holden a popular Pontiac in the U.S. I'm confused.
Well, yeah, the last GTO and then the Pontiac G8, that 4-door sedan, they were Holdens, which is a GM brand in Australia.
Off-branding is making a day.
So, and then
the rest of Texas down well.
So, yeah, I mean, and then they were supposed to bring whatever they called the El Camino down there, the Holden Ute, up here as a Pontiac El Camino-like car, but they didn't. It's an amazing story. It seems to me the cartel is basically an institution, operating speaking. It may not be considered legal, but it's... Okay, see, when I was in Russia, and I'm sure it's the same way, maybe even worse right now, yeah, that thing. That's the G8, which is a Holden Commodore. And you know what engine's in that? It's a Corvette LS engine. You're pushing this table away.
I'm sorry. There's a leg here.
Okay, so what was I saying? I lost my train of thought because of the car.
Mexicans I've heard that they're nice to the people because then the people get along with them better and then they can more easily do their whatever they do.
When I was in Russia, huge, what they call the mafia, it's MAFIYA or something. The Russian mafia is not anything like the Italian mafia, but they're brutal. But they don't mess with the people, unless you start making money, and then they're. I could tell you stories about them, but I avoided them. I knew how to avoid them, and it wasn't a big deal to me. But if you start working and making any money, yeah, they're gonna take it from you. Stevenson, that was a horrible car. We had ones on the lot that had electrical problems. Which car was that? The Holden, the GTO, or the, what is that? Commodore. The Commodore. Oh, that's the one. That's the one they were going to bring in as an El Camino, or a Pontiac kind of El Camino, but they never brought it in. It just didn't happen. And I was just like, couldn't wait till that happened, but it didn't happen. That Commodore's not an exciting looking car. You ever been in one of those? What the heck are you showing me?
Oh, sorry. Wrong picture.
I can tell you.
Commodore.
I gotta tell you a story about portable toilets. Oh man, I got more stories. Oh, what time is it? How long have we been on here? I didn't bring my my phone. Do you know what time it is? I don't know. I have clues.
It's 7:39 in the evening.
Okay, so how long have we
No,
been on?
that's wrong. This one says we have been on for 1 hour and 26 minutes.
Okay, so
it is 10:30.
So I still have time
to talk.
Okay,
more.
yeah. Well, I'm also reading comments, but I want to tell this porta potty story. Okay, the cartel takes care of their local people. That way, they're the first line of protection with it. The public will notify the cartel when the cops come around.
I've heard of such things, and I mean, I don't know. The government should.
So, do you want to hear the story?
Go ahead, tell the story about the toilet. It's probably more interesting than trying to sort out the cartel.
Those didn't exist when I was over there. Oh yeah, you left before. You've been gone for like 20 years, haven't you? Or maybe close to that, 17 years, something like that. Okay, porta potties.
Go ahead, tell your story.
Sure, that one. Yeah, that one. So, you know where you see these. And they're almost always blue. And you go to some event, and there's lines of these things. Oh, you're taking off. Time for me to head to bed. So you're not going to hear the porta potty story. Okay.
Lucy, thanks for stopping in.
Yeah,
we're here
thanks.
Regular on Tuesday night.
Tuesday night, 7 Central.
And maybe for a little while until Ari comes back on Sundays after Tony. We don't know.
Yeah, when Ari comes back, we won't take his place. So, you know, I was into airplanes, and I knew a lot of people doing air shows and stuff. A woman I knew she was bringing Russians into the U.S. for air shows when we got all friendly, like after the Soviet Union broke up. So there's that giant airplane, the one that Putin bombed, the 6-engine, big Antonov giant thing. So they brought that into an air show in Oklahoma, and they had some other aircraft inside that they unloaded, a helicopter and something else, and they had a display table and something. All this stuff came out of this big airplane, and they had a little forklift they're using that they brought with them, Russian forklift. So they're at this air show for several days, and the Russians, I mean, you know, it was right after Soviet Union. In the Soviet Union, the bathrooms they're horrible, most disgusting. You can't imagine how bad the bathrooms are there. So the Russians are at this air show, and they got lines of these porta potties. And the Russians really like the porta potties. Well, you know, I think most Americans would probably think they're pretty disgusting, because by the end of the event, they're terrible. But the end of the event, the Russians like these things so bad they had their forklift and they're scooping up their display tables and they're putting stuff in this big airplane. And they went over like they didn't miss a beat, and they scooped up 2 of those porta potties with all the pee and poo and everything in them.
Full ones.
And
took them with them.
They put them in the airplane. They stole them and took them back to Russia to copy them. That tells you how bad the bathrooms were. Well, now, of course, Russia's up to date. You know, they have a free market economy and all the terribleness went away. Other than they have a president that thinks it's okay to use his military all over the world. But as far as Russians go, yeah, they live more like the rest of the world does now. they're not stealing blue rooms because they're better than their toilets. I just can't believe they stole 2 of those.
Ari, I think that, Mexican Spec, when Ari comes back, if he stinks of EVs, I'll bet you he won't be so. He still will prefer gasoline cars, and we all have to do what's it called? Work as what are people who are soldiers who go and work for whoever pays the highest? Mercenary work.
Mercenary?
Yeah, it's mercenary work. I forgive him.
As well as people think it's like that in Mexico as well as the bathrooms, but I haven't been into a dirty public restroom. You know, I've been into public restrooms in Algodones, this little town I go into. That's on, and it's just like Americans. I mean, I didn't really notice any difference. But that's border town. You know, Algodones. If I go there in the summertime, it's hot as hell. And there's no Americans in there except maybe 1 or 2. But I used to go in there to get my prescriptions. So I wasn't there to go to restaurants and bars and things. So, but that's the time of year there's no Americans in there. So I was probably the only American in town. But if I go in there in the wintertime, it's really nice in that area of the world. So, you know, it's like 70, 75, 80 degrees during the day in the wintertime down there. And so the Algodones is full of Americans and Canadians. So it's a whole different world in the wintertime. Oh, there's a 66 or 7.
I didn't want to look at any more Porta-Johns.
Oh, Acadian. Oh, that's like an American Chevy 2 or Nova, but it's a Canadian Acadian.
Lester LeSabre tipping over a porta potty with someone in it is evil. Did you ever see that Jackass episode where they put the guy in there and roll it around?
What the hell are you watching?
I'm just saying they
Terrible.
did that. It's years ago. It's old news, but yeah, it's horrible stuff.
So
even just the blue water, even if no one's used it, even if it's just the blue water, it's terrible.
So those of you that like Canadian cars,
I'll be right back. Sorry.
I got to ask a question.
Momentary break. What's up?
Well, you're going to leave, but you could bring it up when you get back.
What's up?
I'm asking a question, see if anybody knows the answer. What's an Invader? There's a Canadian car called an Invader.
I don't know.
And then what's the other one? What's the Chevelle? One's like a Chevelle. I can't think what the Canadian Chevelle is. Deal with stupid people. There's some of them around too. You know, I don't mind stupid people as much as people that are not stupid that try to act stupid because they think it's funny. Oh, what's the Canadian Chevelle that's actually, I think it's sold through Pontiac dealers? I can't think what that is. I like some of those cars. But there's one called an Invader. And I don't remember what it is. A Mexican. What do you mean, a Mexican? A Mexican what? Oh, Beaumont. Yeah, the Beaumont. Not Bromont. Beaumont. I think that's a typo. Beaumont is the Mexican Chevelle. Is it really? In Mexico as well as in Canada. Really? The last of the Canadian Studebaker, I think I would like. I think the last of the Canadian Studebakers were the 65 and 66 Studebaker Larks, and they had Chevrolet engines in them. Yeah, Beaumont is the Canadian Chevelle, but I think they were sold through, weren't they Pontiac? I don't remember. You asked about an Invader. Oh, the Invader's in a Mexican Chevelle? Oh, not here. Oh, it was I see. Now I get it. The Invader. Okay. So, Invader was, I'm almost thinking it was one of the early Chevy 2s. But I just remember seeing one time and the car said Invader on the side of it. Kim will probably bring it up.
I'll bring it up. Bring it up, Invader.
Let's put on Canadian Chevrolet Invader, something like that. But I don't know if it was a Chevrolet.
From Canada?
Yeah, Canadian. Yeah, I understand Mexican spec. Now I get the joke.
Who? Chevy Invader?
Well, I don't know. It was a Chevrolet or Pontiac. Just a Canadian car or Invader or something like that. See what you come up with. Yeah, it's a Acadian Invader, and it is the same thing as a Nova or a 66 and 67 Chevy Novas. Yeah, there's a good picture of one. But it's got a divided grille like a Pontiac. Oh, that's the Acadian. There, that's the right there, that one, the one you had your finger on a second ago. That one is the same body as the old Chevy 2s. And well, that says Acadian on it too. Oh, Acadian Invaders. I don't know. Yeah, some of them actually said Invader on them.
Yeah, there was. I clicked on. See, that was.
Oh yeah, Invader. Because I was in a gas station one time and this car came in and it looked a little different, and I kind of looking at it, it said Invader on the side of it, and I go, oh, Invader. So, yeah, that's basically a Chevy 2. The early Chevy 2s, oops, that one's downside up.
Interesting photo. I just clicked
on.
Oh,
up there in the upper right-hand corner, there was a station wagon.
Oh, you like wagons.
The Canadian GM sure know how to... Oh, I don't know what that says. They're all coming up with those cars. So let's see. What else? I'm like Tony, I just ran out of content.
It's a trim. Oh, shoot, we're out of content.
Tony said he ran out of content 2 years ago.
Yeah, he has.
I actually got to talk to Tony for a couple of minutes tonight, and we're talking about doing well, there's the Bricklin you were talking about. Bricklin, yeah. We're talking about doing the turbo on the Valiant. As soon as we get the front end rebuilt, we can drive it down there. Or he said he might come up here. We're about an hour and 45 minutes from Tony's place, and he said he might come up here and work on the turbo with us, or we might go down there. We'll probably do a lot of it here, and then we'll work on it together with Tony, helping us with the tune and everything, because that's kind of his thing. It's amazing how different the car looks with just a different grill. Yeah, different grill and different taillights. Yeah, the Bricklin, we were... Brickland. See, what brought this up tonight was... I look stupid. No, that's all wrong. When I was... we were talking earlier, Kim and I were off the air. And we were talking about... that's a kit car.
Oh.
That's a, I can't think of what that's called. I know what that is. That's a, Cimbria. So,
okay.
So we were talking about odd cars, and I said I'd like to take, those Ford station wagons with the wood on the side. I said I'd like to take the wood off and then put plastic bricks on the side of it because it looked pretty stupid, And then Kim says I wouldn't put bricks on the side of it unless it was a Bricklin. That's terrible. And then so now we're looking at a
Bricklin. That's why it was. And Dee and Dan from Dee Speed Shop was working on a Bricklin at
What's
one point.
Coyote?
That was kind of neat.
Coyote is an engine. What is a Coyote? Is that something else? I don't know what he says. Coyote. There's probably some car called a Coyote down under somewhere.
I don't know, but it looks like Acadian offered a Beaumont and an Invader.
The Beaumont was the Chevelle. The Acadian, it looks... Oh, the Acadian... Okay,
was
the
Nova?
Acadian was the Nova, and then the Invader was like a sub trim level or something, maybe. I don't know. Or in Australia. Rica, what the heck is that? There was
Coyote.
There was a Coyote kit car. Okay, there were two cars that were basically made from the same molds and different versions of it. There was the one that the top lifted up with the whole dash and everything, and then there was one that had
like that? Is it some kind of Ferrari or something?
Yeah, I don't know what I was really...
Oh, that does say Coyote on it.
Okay, yeah, that's not the one we were looking at, though. Look up Cimbria, Cimbr. Wendy English, how you doing? Wendy's here.
Hi, Wendy. Where you been?
So, if you
C-Y or C-I?
Cimbria, Cimbria.
Oh, there it is.
Cimbria. Oh, that's not a very good picture. Yeah, that shows it. Yeah, see, the Cimbria has the. There you go, has the going doors, and then there's another one that looks just about like it that has a lift up front end, and I can't think of what that is right off the top of my head. But they're basically the same car. It's just one of them the whole top lifts up, and the other one has going doors, and it's a
They call it a rare component cars.
Component cars. It's a kit car. But I really like that. I was gonna build one at one time, but then I ended up doing airplanes and didn't do it. I'm kind of glad I didn't. That would have been wasted time. What is the other one? What is the other one? I can't think of the other one that looks like that. Oh, Kelmark. Oh yeah, there was the Kelmark. There were so many kit cars in the early '80s. I was really into that stuff, but then I didn't do it. What is that thing?
That is.
I don't even know what that is.
Aldino. The company was for sale.
Yeah,
It looks like it's a Ferrari replica.
The thing is, now I see some of these cars I see in the molds are for sale, and I look at them, I go, ooh, we could make them, and then I think, why would I want to do that?
That's a big
Why would
program.
Why would I want to do that? Because the VW parts kept probably going missing to make more cars. You know, that car, the Cimbria, could either build it as a Volkswagen, or you could buy a frame kit, and then it was a mid-engine, some kind of a mid-engine thing you put back there. That one looks like they're riffing on a Mangusta. Oh, Mangusta. Oh, God, I had a friend that had a Mangusta in the 70s. And then they came out with, what was the one after Mangusta? De Tomasa Pantera. And I actually like the Mangusta better. I drove that Mangusta just a little bit. It got more like I moved it.
What is that?
That's a Cheetah. That was actually a complete car. It was kind of the Chevrolet version of a Cobra, but Chevrolet didn't build it. Somebody else built it.
That's kind of a nice.
Oh, those were fast cars.
I don't like that profile of it, but
They
it
didn't
looks
weigh
good
anything.
like that.
They didn't weigh anything.
And then that one with the little fastback on it, that looks good. But I don't know. There's something wrong with that. It's not quite right. The proportions are off real bad.
Okay, so anyway, some of those kit cars you could either
That
build
looks
it as,
cool from the back. There's your yellow version. Who was it?
you could
Likes yellow.
you could build
Chevette yellow?
Volkswagens, or some of them had tubing frames, you know. Oh yeah, I was talking about the Mangusta. I had a friend that bought a Mangusta, and that was like, and he had a shop where he built hot rods and stuff, and he used to have the Mangusta parked out. There's a red Mangusta parked out front. What a cool car. Look up Mangusta. Mangusta. The Mangusta, actually you could see the headlights on the Mangusta, but they still were kind of pop-ups. Yeah, look up, the red one right there on the, yeah, look at that. Oh man, what a car. And then the back had going, what? Oh, look up there.
Yeah,
I can look up there, or I can look over there. But the Mangusta also, the doors, see, it's mid-engine, the doors over the back are gull-wing, but the doors where you enter next to the car are standard kind of doors. But, man, I like that car. But it was, it was an aluminum unibody thing that was kind of
what's this?
Twisty. That's a Mangusta. That's how you get to the engine.
Oh.
That's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, it's problematic,
Solid lifter
but cool.
327 in what car? The Mangusta had a 302 Ford in it. I think there was one that had a small block Chevy in it. But all the rest of the production ones had a 302 Ford. Oh, look at that. Isn't that cool?
That is pretty car. Oh, and wow, the profile is so low.
And then look up, I'm sure you know what a Pantera is. The same people built it, but the Pantera was a much more substantial car. But it was a mid-engine, had a 351 Cleveland in it. And I drove I had 2 customers that had Panteras. I used to do the service on them every year. Those are all Mangustas. What happened to the Pantera? What happened to the Pantera? Okay, let's see. I got to get back to this. They accommodated big lots. It's a different glass house for tall people. The Praying Mantis engine bay doors. Oh, Praying Mantis engine bay doors. Man,
Yeah, those are great.
I really like the looks of the Mangusta, but yeah, the Pantera actually was a much more substantial car. The body didn't flex. It was really a better car, but I like the looks of the Mangusta a lot better. Oh yeah, and there's a Pantera with all the stupid spoilers and crap on it. I don't even know what. I don't ever remember seeing one that looked like that. Bill Mitchell's 327, 365 horse engine. Yeah, I don't remember who. There was one. I guess it was one Mangusta or one Pantera. One or the other that had a small block Chevy in it. Pantera owners are a motley crew. I had two people that brought me Panteras, and I used to service the cooling system every year. Both of them were women, and they brought their Panteras in, and I did, all the tubing underneath the car and replaced all. The tubing was straight, and all the hoses were little elbows, and I did all the cooling system service on them, and it was pretty cool. And during that same time is when I had the friend that did the Corvair with the Tornado engine in the back, and I basically duplicated a Pantera cooling system in the Corvair. Put the radiator up front with electric fans, and that was a fun car. The U.S. regulations hurt the power.
Hello, welcome to the stream. What's
Shaquille? I don't want to mispronounce names.
But we're glad you're here.
We're happy. We're
chatting about cars. Thanks for stopping in. Our regular live is on Tuesday nights, but we're doing it after Tony tonight because Ari is on temporary leave, or who knows how long he's busy with work and family. So we're just standing in, trying to be entertaining and have a good time.
Makes sense, Buff. De Tomasos tend to be cramped for dudes. Yeah, and I'm 5'7", so I fit in them just fine. They weren't the most comfortable cars. Well, I'd say the Pantera was definitely better than the Mangusta. The Mangusta was a pretty basic car, but it was not a real stable car. It was flexy kind of body. I don't know.
The back end of that car is sexy as fuck. I am really down for that back.
And then that one.
That is sharp.
Now it's mid-engine. You lift up that back like a standard hatchback, and then there's another cover under there, and the engine's there. But the distributor and the water pump and all the stuff was in the front, so it was really hard to get to all that. But happy Sunday. So, it is Sunday. Yeah, because we're usually here Tuesday night, but it's Sunday.
And happy St. Patrick's. Oh, they took it down. We can't do the St. Patrick's Day anymore. Oh, it's not St. Patrick's Day wherever they're doing it. I got this camera in my way. I can't do the St. Patrick's. Sorry. We had glitter and everything. It was really nice effect, and now it doesn't work.
I never liked cars that had value. It's a problem for me. Yeah, 351 Cleveland. I had one Cleveland. Because I ruined the Windsor in my 64 Ford, and I needed to drive it. And I just took a 2-barrel Smog Cleveland, low compression Cleveland.
Oh, sorry, everyone.
So I could drive it. And then my Mach 1 it was a 69, so it had a 4-barrel Windsor in it. Yeah. See, that one's got all the splitter
decals and stuff,
Yeah.
You don't like it as much?
I never saw one with all that.
That looks more like a track car.
I know they did all that, jazzed them all up. It's like the original.
Big old wing on there.
It's like the original. Why can't I think of it? Brain farts again. It's always been Campo. Oh, that's what I'm trying to think of. Hey, Dean Stevenson, you refreshed my memory. The Lamborghini Countach. There's the original one that was so good looking, and then they started putting spoilers and plastic and scoops, and it's like, Look up original Countach. Looks like Count Tack. original one. Just what looks like Count Tack, C-O-U-N. Yeah, look up the original one. That's got all the jazz on it. Oh.
We'll do this. We'll do all, and we'll just find the Wikipedia.
Oh, look up, just put original, and you'll find the original one. It looked so good before
It'll show us
all the marketing people got a hold of it. I've only had small block Fords. My 3.
That one?
Yeah, that looks really good. I think that looks great. And then they started putting spoilers and stickers and splitters and plastic and scoops. And
I kind of like some of those fancy
I
things.
like that because it's just the way the designers did it. It's simple. It's nice. I never drove.
Good night, Wendy. Thank you for stopping in. Hopefully we'll see you on Tuesday if you can make it.
Good to see you here. Yep, thanks for stopping in. I've only had small blocks Ford. My 3-valve 4.6, a couple of 300s, and my 240, and even a 200 once. Yeah, you know, I've had the small, I don't know if you call them small and big, I don't know how Ford did it, the 200, which was the 144, 170, 200, 250 engine, which I like that thing, and then the 240, 300's big, heavy 6-cylinders, and I like them both. I was telling Kim I wouldn't mind having another 200 or 250. They're not really hot rod engines, but I don't mind the 6-cylinder engines anymore. I'm not in a hurry, and you know we just built a slant 6. We'll have fun with that.
I mean, you can go pretty fast with a 6-cylinder engine and have a lot of fun, and we're not setting any records, you know.
There seemed to be a lot of issue with Panteras. Excuse me. I've been to car shows where there's like 3 or 4 Panteras sitting there. One in particular in Tucson, Arizona, and I got to talk to several of the owners, and of course they were really into them. They all knew, you know, they knew all the forums, knew all the people. And they had them all sorted out. They were pretty nice. But I don't know. Back when those things came out, those kind of looking cars, I really liked that stuff. But of course, I couldn't afford them, so I like the kit cars, you know. Have I ever driven a Sunbeam Tiger? Yes, I have. I rode with a guy in a Sunbeam Tiger, and there was another guy that we were on the highway, and there's another guy we knew that got stuck in a car. We stopped to pick him up. So now there's 3 of us in a Sunbeam Tiger. How do you do that? One of them crams in where it's a convertible, so where the top goes, that guy was all crammed back in there. We're going down the road like 115 miles. A Sunbeam Tiger, like a bunch of idiots. Oh man, yeah, but I've driven them. There was somebody that had a Sunbeam Tiger. I used to do service on that every year too. Pantera, who made that car? Roof makes the car. Oh, which one are you looking at? This one right here, this red one we're looking at right now is a Lamborghini Countach, the original one. But then the Pantera was made by De Tomasa. Some air metal guy crashed his convertible Pantera. Killed the guy from. Okay, I got to get caught up here. I-6, okay, inline 6. Much be scary as heck. I think it was a guy from Motley Crue. I heard about that, I think, because left and the Swiss and the Canadian oil merchant bankrolled the company. So, got name gear. I'm not sure what all that is. When I was a little kid, I rode with my dad and his brother in a Triumph Spitfire. We have a Spitfire here.
What year's our Spitfire?
Kim bought a Spitfire.
Is it 71?
Okay. I don't know. Yeah, we have a 71 Spitfire. I have 2, the white, 289. ATL from California. It was great. 271 horsepower. 289s are pretty cool, and they were solid lifter 289s, and they were very rare cars. Yeah, we have one of those, but ours isn't made out of metal anymore. It's made out of Bondo, and I think there's some rusty metal under it.
It looks like the paint was maybe put on with a roller. It's a little rough, But it's all there. We're curious to do some. Not all there. It's missing a couple things.
De
But
Tomasos were one of those
curious to have some fun
hybrids.
with it somewhere here soon.
Hybrids in the old sense, yes. Italian chassis, American-made muscle for engine, yeah, which that's what made them fun. I used to do the container unloading from Crompton. Yes. Kid in my high school rolled a K-Code 66 fastback, 2+2 non-GT. That's too bad. I had a 66 Mustang convertible that was GT, black on black, but somebody had taken the engine, so I put my 289 in it, which was, it was a 64 engine, because it had the 5-bolt bell housing, so I had to find the right, it was a bunch of parts. But anyway, I got it all going, drove it around a lot. Drove that car once with the top up. Every other time, first thing I do when I get in the car is put the top down. I was in Southern California, so it's pretty nice weather always. You see the engine is in the back of the Pantera. Making a convertible would make the engine inaccessible. You know, the thing about the Pantera with the engine in the back is Ford went to all the trouble to finally put the distributor up front so you could get at the distributor. Then they put it in a Pantera and you couldn't get at the distributor. You had to be a contortionist to get at the distributor. Stock 260s were 164 horsepower, the same as old Fairlane 2-barrel. Yeah, the Sunbeam Tiger that I drove had a 260 in it, not a 289. I think most of them were 260s, but there were some that were 289s, I think. A lot of them were 260s. What was really funny is it was Sunbeam, so it sold through Chrysler dealers, and it had a Ford engine in them. That was strange. Compton. Our car guy had me do the Ministry of Primary Industries clean. I'm not sure what that means. The Spitfire we have is a really old derelict car, and my plan is to pull the body off and set the metal, or the Bondo, I think it's Bondo, set the Bondo off somewhere next to it, and then roll the chassis inside. Well, first we'll get the engine. Kim will get
We'll do
the
a little
engine
Will It Run,
and
see
then
if we
we'll
get it going.
And then we'll build an aluminum body or fiberglass body or something. We'll make something cool out of it. But the body that's on it is absolute garbage. So, I guess, or we could find another Spitfire body. I don't know. But I kind of want to build something, just scratch build something. I built a lot of aluminum airplanes from scratch, so I'm sure I can do a car.
Yeah, he's been talking about the aluminum car for a while. I'm surprised you don't want to do an aluminum frame for weight, but we'll make it work either way.
It's got a frame. It's all that works. We'll just use it.
Nice.
Okay, Tiger 260 is a 16.8 second quarter mile, 122 miles an hour. You know, that Tiger with the 260
Vince Neil
it felt good, you know. But I'm remembering that from when did I have that shot? From 1975 to 1980. So, you know, it's way back in the memory somewhere, driving that Sunbeam Tiger. I just Googled, and in a convertible, it was Vince Neil in Redondo Beach in 1984. Okay. Go around for some Spitfire parts. Yeah, you know, that body is so bad. It's like somebody, you know, they muttered over rust and muttered over more rust and more rust. So, but enough of it's there. We'll make a good car out of it. Close ratio, BorgWarner T10 with 2.32. I guess that's first gear. What a sensational car. The 289 4-barrel was a 15-second car. You know what I remember is they had 2 barrels on them, and what I heard was the 4-barrel hit the firewall. Now, I'm sure they figured a way around that, but that's a story I heard back then. Yeah, I heard about it. He's talked about in interviews. Triumph TR8 would be as scary as well. Yeah, that had the TR8 had the Buick 215 engine, which ended up being a 3500 British engine. And those things, I always wanted to drive one, but never did. I never drove a TR7 or a TR8. and always
The underlying body is not good, but we.
Yes, but the underlying body is.
There's a guy about 5 hours north of here. He has a nice body we could buy, but like we have so many projects, we have to.
I have
that car is gonna sit. If we make big plans, we're gonna just get tied up in it.
I have something in mind I want to do with that car. She bought it while I was gone. I came home and there it was.
It was just fun. The guy who I got it from was giving it away, and it was. The drivetrain is complete, and I knew I could get my money back out of just a couple of things.
You have a frame. A frame for what?
A frame for the Spitfire.
It's the frame Spitfire. The frame is fine. The body's just.
Yeah, the frame's okay.
Well, you know
it's
what?
There.
Yeah, the frame.
And I have a title.
I'll
so
fix it.
You can
yeah,
build
and it's got a
anything.
title. You know, so that's a good car to have. One of my friends built the hell out of a 260 and a Falcon back in the 60s. See. 60s, late 60s, 1967 through early 1970, I had a paper out in old downtown San Luis Obispo, which was it was car dealers and some older homes. And there were car builders around, you know, where teenagers lived. And there were Falcons with 260s, and I remember people building, actually building gassers the way they were back then. And they had 260s in them. Does the Spitfire have a running engine? Not yet. I think Kim can get her running. It's all complete looking. And
there's a whole engine there.
She likes to do that kind of stuff. What are you looking at? Oh, the 260 Falcon?
Ford Falcons.
Yeah, it looks just like a 289. But they're, oh God, that's a 64. That's
just a tiny little engine in that Spitfire Mexican spec. We were talking, it's like 1100 cc.
It's like 1190 something. It's 1200.
Yeah.
So,
and we don't know if it runs. I do know it spins. I checked that before I bought it. I was like, well, if it's free, it's probably...
If I build an aluminum body or fiberglass body the way I do fiberglass, where it's foam fiberglass sandwich construction, I don't think the body will weigh over 300 pounds. So whatever that engine and that Spitfire aircraft engine, no, completely different Spitfire. So it's a V12. Enormous V12. So,
yeah, I don't think we have the suspension framework kind of thing to hold up anything bigger than what was in there from the start. And it's got swing axles and stuff like that. It would just be a fun little cruiser car, but I don't think it could ever be anything like fast. That would be dangerous.
We'll have to put camper compensators on the back because the axles will be too much this way. Yeah, but it'll be a lightweight car, and I don't know. We might license it, and then we might just put it on the trailer and take it to places like No Name Nationals, use it for a pit vehicle. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't really like the looks of a Spitfire.
Whatever strikes our fancy when we get to it. Right now we're working on the Valiant because it is our primary project. It's our hot rod. And once that's reliable and working, or if we get really sick of it, and then just here and there. And like today, a random guy come up to the front door.
Oh, yeah.
He says, you want to sell that truck? I said, which one? And he said, that big blue one. And I said, I might sell the big blue one, but I want the 360 Magnum out of it. And he said, I don't really care. I already have an engine. My trucks have diesels. But I like the interior and the tailgate and the dash and the grill inserts and some other candy that truck has. And I said, let's work a deal. So he wants the truck. I want the motor. And so I have to snatch the motor out of that. Although I had no intention of doing that this week, it is now front of the line. Because
that's the priority now.
Because if I don't do it now, when I call this guy in a month or 6 months from now, he won't have money.
Yeah, so we got to get that done like tomorrow or the next day, and then that guy will have that truck.
We're gonna get on it.
You'll have money.
And I will have my motor.
And she'll have her 360 Magnum.
I mean, I already have my 360, but I will,
Yeah, she'll have it out of the...
It will be in my grasp.
So now we got... I know there's got to be a way.
And we'll have one less old vehicle lying around here.
Oh my God, we got all these Dodge pickups all over the place.
We grew up a good crop of old Dodge pickups last year. Facebook Marketplace was good to me.
Always sell them when you can. That's right.
Oh, when they come knocking, you say, what are you willing to pay?
Mexican spec. What did you put up today on Instagram? I looked at it this morning, something really clean, and I don't remember what it was.
Mexican Spec sells and imports Mexican cars. If anybody does not know, he has been good to us, a friend to us, and we have never purchased a car from him, but we are
We
aware
purchased
of his,
items from him, and he's a good guy.
He is a, what's it called when you can trust somebody?
Trustworthy.
There's another word, but yeah, talk to him, deal with him. There's your plug, Mexican Spec. Thank you for being here.
She installed some kind of limiter straps on the Spit. Yes, in fact, because it's going to be lighter than what it is right now, there's things called camber compensator, and I don't remember exactly how that works. But yeah, I'm going to have to be really careful with that. And I remember the guys, like, when I was like in the 60s, early 70s, when I was a really young teenager, guys were racing Volkswagens around these little Gymkhana things where they got all these cones and they're going like crazy. And they put seat belts around them so the swing axles wouldn't go down very far, if you can believe that. They tighten up seat belts so the axles wouldn't go down. Well, I'm not going to do that, but there's a thing called a camper compensator, and I'll probably have to put lighter springs or something back there. I'll have to figure it out. I'll be able to figure it out. Now, it wasn't the 81 Fairmont. Maybe that's what you put up, but what the heck did I say? I don't have my phone here.
All right, you'll think of it in a minute. That 360 Magnum, I have a transmission, overdrive transmission from another truck that I can mate to the 360, and then I'm going to have to Cope Racing Transmissions should be able to provide me with a manual valve body so that I can Kim Spec.
Yes.
Well, so
that's not going under the Spitfire. That's going under the 66 Dart.
It's way heavier than the Spitfire would ever need. The rear end in the Spitfire is about yo big, but I know what you're saying, Dean. And if I wasn't able to get that Subaru running, the Subaru that I worked on in the last weekend, we rebuilt the motor. No 360 Magnum in the Spitfire. No, Mexican. Right away, no. Instantly, I must respond.
It's like an anchor. No. It's like an anchor in a rowboat.
But Dean, the Subaru has a much smaller sort of independent rear suspension because it's all-wheel drive. It's lighter duty than it would normally be, and something like that would work really good to replace or upgrade the Spitfire. And also, because Kim can narrow the IRS, I absolutely we had so much good luck with that.
She really told me she was gonna this complicated like shape. You can't believe this thing. And she says we got to narrow it 5 inches to fit under the Dart. And I'm like, yeah, that's like some pipe dream. And then she's over there cutting, and I'm looking at it thinking this is the end of that's just scrap
I turned it into a jigsaw puzzle too, because I didn't just cut it straight in half because I'd never be able to narrow it. I cut it like along the contours and stuff.
If you've watched her videos, she's going weld here, and now she has a narrowed crossfire, 5 inches narrower, crossfire, the whole suspension, narrowed axles, everything, and it'll fit under the Dart, and the wheels will be inside the wheel wells.
We still have to do some work to frame rails and mini tubbing of the Dart, but it will be covertly tucked under the factory wheel molding.
So she'll have a 66 four-door Dart with four-wheel independent suspension. So we'll have to back half it, but I don't mind doing major body work. I think it's really going to be fun. I think it's a great project. And the Dart will still look, I think it'll still look like it's supposed to look like, Probably handle like a newer BMW.
Nissan Skyline, 240 IRS Center.
What is
that
this?
IRS is back. Right, like it seemed like it would be a really good. And so the Subarus of that vintage tend to have either head gasket failures or automatic transmission failures, but the rear ends outlast the cars. So I should be able to find one, and that would be great because instead of having the 4-bolt oddball Spitfire bolt pattern that only has like 13-inch wheels.
Spitfire.
And 13-inch wheels you can't get performance tires for. So that would upgrade us to 14-inch wheels with 5 on 4.5-inch bolt pattern, which would be an excellent upgrade for that little car. So we've definitely considered it. The other thing I've considered is what's the Jeep that we have? Patriot?
Oh yeah, we have it's a fake Jeep. It's a Patriot.
But since it's all-wheel drive, it has a very small rear differential because the torque necessary to get it moving gets spread way out. So it has a light-duty independent rear suspension as well. And those show up because people wear them out. And because they have the CVT transmissions. So if we could find the independent rear suspension from one of those, it would be a really good little...
Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Nissan, they're talking about these cars, I don't know what they are. Gearbox was a Jack, though. Yeah, I know what that is. Internal parts is the Nissan. What is that? Stagia? Ooh, down under they have things I don't know about. And the Sylvia. Oh, Danny Boyd says that IRS is badass. I hope you're talking about Kim's that she narrowed. Maybe you watched her channel. Is that on your channel? Is that on my channel? That's on your channel, isn't it? The whole narrowing job and all the welding and all that thing, and it's
we might have put it on your channel because there was a bunch of welding. You'll have to check both of our channels, Kim Fixes Things and Buff Del Campo, and see which one of our channels has that video because I don't remember.
And I know on one of my lives you showed it to everybody sitting on the floor.
I did, but that might be a lot to ask somebody to go back through.
What happened? You can control the device using the commands.
I don't know if there's a way to get out of there.
Something going up on our screen.
You said something that sounded like a voice command to the
stupid thing has a voice command, and if it catches a word that it thinks is something, it puts some crap up on the screen. It thinks I wanted something changed. I just possibly makes or else just be. I would like to experience crazy. Sylvia, Stadia, Nissans. I would drive for very different. Yeah, I don't know what those are. Aldrad knows what they are. Fuji Heavy Industries had Nissan parts. They use the same plant. Oh, okay. Same as Subaru. Floor 11. It's got it.
So the other thing is if we were going to put a V8, we would go heavier. The all-wheel drive things are light duties for something like a big 4-cylinder or maybe a small 6-cylinder. If we were going bigger, we would match our parts to something that you can expect to stand up. You know, you don't just put something stupid. Like, I'm not going to put the 360 into the Dart with the 7 1/4 still in it because it's just going to snap the first time we try and
that
zoom in it.
IRS you've got with from Crossfire, they put that's a V6 that they turbocharged, and with that rear end, I mean, you're not going to break that.
Yeah,
unless you. I mean, you could, I suppose,
if
but I think you're
not. If we pounded intentionally, tried to break it, we could probably break it eventually. But I really think that the welding that you did on the axles is going to hold up, and the ring and pinion is more than sufficient for a lot of power. 300 and some horsepower with those V6 turbocharged engines. So I think that we are good to go. Good to go with that. And then we have the 300ZX. We could put a V8 in that, and that I'm told that independent rear suspension in that 300 is more than stout enough to handle.
You got 2 V6s for that thing.
I do, but you know why I bought that? Do you know why I ended up finding that 300, researching and purchasing it? Because I knew it had the rear end with the independent rear suspension. Just that part of the car is worth more than what I paid for the whole car without the motor, without the fact that it has a 5-speed transmission in it, which is a sought-after gearbox because they are so stout.
What you're saying, you may part it out or something.
And if I do, I will make money off of that one. But right now I'm just sitting on it, and we'll see when the projects come.
You got it sitting on your trailer, so we needed the trailer. We thought we needed the trailer yesterday. We couldn't use it because it's got a Nissan.
That keeps us from dragging more cars home.
It's got a Nissan 300ZX sitting on it.
Trying to sit on my hands and save my monies so we can have nicer projects.
Wasn't that Gen ZX still a straight 6?
No, it's a V6.
It's a V6.
It was the
We know. There was one of them in the back of Kim's van for months. One of them Trailblazer 6s in the Trailblazer 6s in the 280Z. Well, they had that inline 6, 240, 260, 280Z. I worked on lots of those. Those things were everywhere back in the 70s. And yeah, I had a lot of those in my radiator shop. I used to split top seams in the radiators. I rebuilt those radiators in my sleep. I could still do it. They were nicely built radiators. They just pops top seams though. But
Trailblazer 6s?
I don't know if it's a Trailblazer 6.
Is it a 4.3
It's a
liter V6
I
in the
think
Trailblazer?
I hope he's kidding, because the 6s in the 280Z were a overhead cam Nissan engine that was a pretty good engine.
The Nissan 3-liter overhead cam engine that we had for that car is
oh, he's
pretty
saying
interesting.
put a GMC twins. No.
Well, it's a 300Z, not a 280Z, but
Yeah, it's a little short nose on it. You can't put an inline 6 in it. You'd have. I don't think
if I had 3 lifetimes left to live, I don't think I could do all these projects. But maybe someday we'll be in a shop with several people working alongside of us, and we'll be able to pump out these projects like some of these other big YouTubers.
Well, the 4.2 inline 6, the General Motors one you're talking about, that's the one that's used by Nivlak 57. Nivlak 57, I don't know if you know who he is, check out their YouTube channel. They race those things, and they had one in a Volvo, went 150 miles an hour and a quarter mile, and it had an accident. It's horrifying. But those things are extremely fast, and they do real well with them.
Yeah, the 280 was the end of the inline 6s. The 300 came out with a V6.
Yep.
And it has overhead cam and all kind of electronics and fuel injection and fancy stuff. The 300ZX, certain versions of them actually had 4-wheel steering. Did you know that, for performance?
I knew there were some cars.
The biggest complaint about the 300ZX is
that
that they were too complicated, too much electronics, too much fancy stuff, and that doomed them. So
V12, you ever put that? Hey, can you do a search on there? Put on there Nivlak 57.
Oh, Nivlak's amazing.
Now put Nivlak 57, and then put red Datsun or something like that. Nivlak, yeah, 57, and then put.
We'll just go to his YouTube channel. There's some pictures of him.
Look for the well, there it is, but it's down there, but it isn't painted yet. But okay, that right there, you can see the car. Now it's all red, but that's got one of those 4.2 inline 6s in it. Yeah, okay. We'll show the car again. Yeah, and it's that's an old picture, because we saw that thing race at the first annual No Name Nationals, and it was extremely fast, and it had turbocharged or supercharged, one of the other.
Boo! VA swap the car then. It is the VQ30.
Wait a minute.
D.
Boo! V8 swap that car. Oh, that thing was, you wouldn't. Oh, you know what Nivlak is doing right now? They're doing
A North Star engine.
North Star, and going through that and fixing all the North Star issues, and that thing's going to be, I don't know what they're going to put in. I put a Ford 300. A Ford 300 to me is just like a good beefy old engine, but I don't think that
it's a big cast iron
yeah,
beast.
This thing's all aluminum.
That's like a van engine or industrial engine,
I
like
think
a Slant 6.
300 would be great, like in a full-size Ford Galaxy from 1970 or something, or like in a Ford pickup. Be a great engine for it, but I don't know about a light car. Maybe it's sort of heavy. I mean, I've worked on those. All the 240s I worked on were all in Ford pickups, like 1960s Ford pickups. Turbo Datsun Nissan 2.8 liter inline 6. Yeah, okay. So a 2.8 liter inline was like in the later Datsun 280Zs.
which are super
Such a
cool,
fun.
and I wish I had one, but this is the car that came up, and I bought it for parts.
Well, the
But
thing with the 240,
I like
260, 280Zs, getting very old. Those things were around when I was in my teens.
What
you
did
know,
early
And-
80s was the end of those. The 300 came out in like 85 or 86.
yeah, Galaxy's only got the 240, 300s in trucks, but I mean, you could very easily put a 300 in a Galaxy.
But they were geared for it.
I know,
You know?
I knew some guys, some college students built a 68 Ford Galaxy, and they they had a 300 in it with a Clifford 4-barrel and everything, and they had it raised up like probably 4 or 5 inches, and they ran it in the Baja 1000. Okay, I'm gonna have sneezing fit.
Uh-oh.
Jeez, excuse me.
I know, it's amazing they put 300s in dump trucks, but they were workhorses.
The Nivlock Z
It
must
wasn't
have one
fast,
big
but it
turning
got
circle.
the job done.
I don't think they're interested in the turning circle. It's a drag race car.
Yeah, it's a straight
It's
down
a straight.
car.
I watched it on an 8-mile drag race go. I don't know. They went over 100 miles an hour in a very short distance. I'd love to have a 300 in an early Mustang. Really?
I think it's kind of high deck, and it's a lot of
Well-
weight on the front end of a little Mustang.
You know, the Mustangs had the small 6, the 144. Well, they never had the 144, but that style. The 170, 200, 250. That just seems like, I don't know. I've never compared the two of them. It just seems like a smaller, physically sized engine, but I don't know. My 300 memories made me sneeze.
You're tickling his nose hairs, Dean.
What I noticed the first time I worked on a 240, which is basically like a 300, was all the pieces inside. As soon as I had the valve cover off, it all looked like my 289. All the rockers and everything. Or Maverick. You know, I had a Maverick that had a 250 in it, which is, you know, the other 6-cylinder Ford. The one that had the intake manifold that was cast in part of the head. But you can machine that off, and they make, you know, you can machine it off, and what are you looking at? Which one?
Bringing up a picture of the Ford inline six.
Oh yeah, I mean
Talking about
that's a hell of an engine. Those are great engines, but that's a big heavy thing. I don't know what they weigh. What's it weigh? Oh, my 300 turned out to be a 240. Well, yeah, go buy a crank and rods and pistons. I don't know if you know those. It's been a while since those were made. I think they were made up into the 90s, maybe close to 2000. Maybe close to 2000. I don't know. My mom had a 250 Maverick. I had a 250 Maverick. Story about that. I may have told it on here. The 250 Maverick, I was renting it out. Oh, there's another whole story. I had this rent-a-car business that...
Hold on a second. What color was your mother's Maverick, Dan?
What year? It's interesting, for I had the i6 300 and the V8 302. Yeah, they're about the same size engine. 2 5-liter engines. Although the 302 they called a 5-liter and the 300 they called a 4.9. I had that crazy fuel pump too. 96 was the last year for the 300. Yeah, so it was way up into the 90s. Yeah, see that red Maverick? Yeah, that's like an early Maverick. Small bumpers. That looked like mine. It had a 250 in it. And
Something's wrong with it.
so, yeah, the 250 is a lighter engine, I think, than the 240. But the number 3 cylinder was burning oil and fouling the plug every 100 miles or so. So one night I pulled the head off of it, pulled the pan off of it, pulled the number 3 piston out, and the piston was okay. I put cast iron rings on it, took a dingleberry home and honed the cylinder, and I could run my hand down the cylinder. I could feel it wasn't straight. But when I pulled the rings off the piston, the oil rings are just bonded in there. It took me a while to get the rings loose and clean out the ring lands, put the new rings on the one piston, put it back together, and it never burned oil again. Plug never fouled again. I was amazed that even worked, because I could feel that. When I ran my hand down the cylinder, I could feel it wasn't perfect. But it looked perfect, because the dingleberry home makes it look perfect. But it's amazing that worked. 5-liter Oh, the 302 Ford. Yeah, that's a light engine. My Maz Maverick was a 76 4-door in banana yellow. Those aren't 4 doors. Oh yeah, there you go. But it's that color, but that body style. One of the big, looks like the bumper's like a big sofa. That's old. Yeah, it's got small bumpers. Small bumpers look really good on the car, and the big bumpers you just sort of got. Oh yeah, I forget. I'm not looking at your monitor. I'm supposed to look at that monitor. So I'm looking at the camera when I'm looking at the pictures.
Closest I can get is a 74. I apologize. It's not always easy to find.
74 has the big bumpers. Big ugly bumpers. Oh, I don't like those. That's like they had to, all of a sudden they have to have 5-mile-an-hour bumpers and they didn't know what to do. So they did the best they could. And that really sucks. After 69, the 200s, 250s were just thrown together. Yeah, I don't know. I remember a friend of mine had a 1960 Falcon with that same basic engine as a 144. But the 144s only had 4 main bearings, the 200s and 250s, 170s, 200 and 250s. And I'm not sure about the 170s. The 200s and 250s had 7 main bearings. But the 144s had 4 main bearings. Don't know about the 170s. But the old 144s didn't have much power, but they just go and go and go. What do you got? What are you clicking on me here?
Sorry, I'm just looking at stuff.
Oh, you're looking at something there.
Just numbers.
You're clicking away at something.
Sorry.
Just clicking at my screen. Hard to argue Mavericks retain any cool with 4 doors.
Yeah, the 4-door sort of blows it up.
The only thing look on there. I know somebody did it. Put on there Maverick chop top. You can even put 4-door Maverick chop top. I've seen it. Yeah, Maverick is basically a Falcon underneath. Yes. Where is one of the chop? Is that it? There it is. Look at that thing.
That really improves.
Somebody did that. You know how much work that was?
That really does improve it. I gotta give it
to do a chop top on a 4-door car.
4-door.
I thought that was so cool looking.
I gotta give it to you. That car looks way better with the roof chopped.
And that's been around for 15 years or something.
Nice job.
It's interesting how different 2-door Maverick is than the 4-door. Yeah, I really liked it when the Mavericks came out. I thought it looked so much better. Maverick wagon? Well, Ford didn't do that, but maybe somebody did. I always thought that was wrong. What was wrong with the Maverick? They never had a wagon. Although the Falcon, like a 60, the original Falcons look good as wagons. Well, that looks dumb. That's not a real car.
It says Brazilian Ford Maverick station wagon.
Oh.
That looks like a real car.
It was in Brazil. They did that? Why didn't we get those? I didn't know that they did that in Brazil. They got stuff in Brazil we didn't get here. Same thing with
Wayne. I saw that guy. He's part of our car group that he's
Who's
making
that?
the 300 with the Ellis head.
Oh yeah. I've watched him a lot. Small wagons in South America.
Mexicans, yes, it is a real car.
It is. Man, you learn something every day. I never knew about that. Why didn't we get that? Why didn't we get that? Yeah, I think if it has 4 doors, it may as well be a wagon. There's another car. There was another car they were supposed to do 4-door in a wagon, but they didn't. It was an AMC Matador. The bug-eyed 74 Matador coupe. I had one of those. I loved those cars. But the 4-door was not the same body. It was ugly, and the wagon was ugly. But what was his name? It was the AMC designer. I can't think of which is ugliest. The Matador. I love the Matador. Yeah, there was a Vega wagon. I had a Vega wagon. I actually had a Vega wagon for a while.
Okay, I'm going to stop you.
You're going to stop me.
We are at 2.5 hours. Do you want to continue on?
Oh, I don't
Or
know.
do
How
you
many
wanna
people we
call
have
it?
here? 10 people
There's
in here?
10 people. That's
You
a
know,
lot of people. And we
I don't
appreciate
know.
you being here. So.
What's anybody think? You like sitting here any longer? Yeah, Dick Teague. Dick Teague actually had it all penciled out. The bug-eyed Matador wagon and four-door, but they never did it. And I have those pictures somewhere. Yeah, Dick Teague. That's a guy. He's a one-man design studio. Amazing man. No, the Maverick wagon is ugly as sin. Oh, I don't care. That's still Jeebus. Yeah, I mean, the guy was something. Yeah, look at yeah, he did that. And he said that was the strongest AMC car ever built because they didn't put a tailgate in it. Imagine how strong that unibody was back there. And all they did was really, they took the Hornet, lopped it off. Yeah, there's the Hornet. They lopped the Hornet off, and they had the first of the small compact cars, and they sold so many of those things. 10.5 peoples. I don't mind hanging out, but don't feel obligated. God, those Pacers are dorky. You know, the Pacers was the glass weighed so much. See that other car up there, that sports car up at the top on the right? The gold-looking one. Scroll back down. That one. That's the. Yeah, and you can see there's yellow ones down below that are better pictures. Down below that one. Oh, right there. You had it. Yeah, that'll work.
An AMX?
AMX3. That's Dick Teague.
That looks like the Mach 5.
That's
cool. That's Speed Racer car.
They built. I think they built 5 of those, and I think 3 of them still exist. Man, too bad they didn't produce that thing. They were out of money by then. Gremlin X, childhood dream car of mine. Yeah, see, I don't know how old you are, but in the early 70s, the Gremlin, that was a well-liked car. Now people look at it and they go, that thing looks stupid, and they don't like it, you know. There's several cars like that. The original PT Cruiser. The people my age, I was at the bottom of that, and people that 10 to 20 years older than me, I mean, Chrysler sold, 600,000 of them the first year? Wouldn't you like to do that today, you know? And now, you know, young people think they hate them. But it wasn't a bad car. I mean, I had a PT Cruiser, and that thing went. I had a first generation PT Cruiser. You can't see that one. That's a second gen. Yeah, Gremlins are everywhere in the 70s. They sure were. Block up the street from my radiator shop, there was an AMC dealer. They're everywhere.
Wow, on March 8th of
I'm
2006.
getting toward my mid-50s now. Yeah, so you're young. I'm surprised you really like the Gremlin, but the Gremlin now, people look at it, younger people look at it like it's oogly. But then those things were. What are you doing here? What are you?
I'm highlighting. On March 8th, 2006, Daimler Chrysler announced that 1 million PT Cruisers has been built.
And that was, they came out as an 01 model.
And a total of 1,050,281 cruisers were marketed in the United States.
So, when I was in England, they were running around there. I was in England in 09, and there were PT Cruisers there. Oh, the other thing that was in England was what's that Dodge wagon that I like? The Magnum station wagon. In England, I don't remember what they called them. They sold them through Chrysler dealers, and they had the Chrysler 300 nose on them instead of the Magnum nose, so they look like a Chrysler 300 station wagon. Let's see.
What is this?
What is what? Oh, this some ugliness. I don't even want to see it. That hurts my eyes. Take that away. Oh, they can't even see it.
I gotta show them what it is that's ugly.
Don't. That's like some customizer on drugs. Take that away. Oh, I thought they sold 600,000. The first year model, 01, and then the sales really slowed down. But there were 1 million of them by 06. But I think it was 600,000. I think it was the first year model. That's ugly too.
Here's the convertible. Oh, that was a...
Oh, that was horrible.
Here you go. This is your style.
I don't like the wood.
You don't like the wood?
I'll take that off.
The Woody Wagon PT Cruiser is the best.
No, it isn't.
That's the best PT Cruiser they ever built.
Mine was the first year.
If we ever get a PT Cruiser, it has to have the wood.
That's
the only other option is the bricks.
Yeah, we'll put... I want to do an old Ford Country Squire and put bricks down the side of it. Plastic bricks, and because I think it'd be funny to look like something to make it even heavier looking. You know?
Wheels look like brake dust so as to hide brake dust.
They well, yeah, they became for the geriatric, but they didn't get good mileage. Well, you know, my PT Cruiser on the road would get 33 miles a gallon, which, you know, I don't know what that is in
this one's got
liters
flames
and
and
all
ground
that.
effects.
Liters and all that and everything.
This one's got Lambo doors and a blower.
Oh.
Woo!
Oh.
No wonder they hate them so bad.
Well, see, here's the thing. They tried to make it look kind of like a 37 Ford, which I don't think it really looked like a 37 Ford. But those came out late in 2000, and my friend Carl, who's gone now, but Carl used to go to all these Chrysler things. He goes, once the PT Cruisers came around, they weren't so much fun. Oh, you're really distracting. So he said, yeah, there you go. Come on. So Carl says to me,
I like the little two-door.
Let me finish. So Carl says, yeah, there's like 30 or 40 Mopars, and he says like 600 PT Cruisers show up. And he goes, the Chrysler meets aren't so much fun anymore because there's 600, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I wanted to finish that. Okay, now you can put all up your stupid customized PT Cruisers. I want to put a Willys looking nose, like a diamond quilted interior. Looks like a Crosley. Oh, Crosley's. I had a friend had a Crosley. $138,000 per year in the U.S. Worth $25,000 in the rest of the world. Yeah, but they weren't all. I know the first year they sold way more than the rest of the years. Well, now what the hell is that?
Yes.
You're embarrassing me. I tell you, I like these things. You put that up there.
But this, when you say PT Cruiser, this.
What is that?
This is what people, because the most absurd one that they ever saw is what comes to mind, and then they hate it. And they think, why would this otherwise sensible boomer want anything to do
why would you do that?
This.
That's like a tire cutting machine. That's something.
I turned my PT Cruiser into a machine that destroys tires.
Jeez. And Kim wanted me to put flames on the car, and she goes, have the flames come back from the gas cap.
That's for the Tinto.
What? Yeah, have the flames come back from the gas cap.
Ooh, this is cute. The off-road one.
You put a lawnmower. You can put a mower deck under that. Oh man, yeah, pretty fair sales for a specialty model. Yeah, no kidding. It's people start giving Chrysler a hard time about that. Nope, they sold today. Nobody sells 1 million of a body style. You know, that's just amazing. That's just amazing. You know, last time that happened, I think was original Mustang. They sold something like that. I wanted the first Dream Cruiser in the orange color. You know, the color I always liked with the PT Cruiser was the 02 model, the gold 02, but I think a lot of people probably don't like that gold. Why didn't Ford do that on the Pinto? Oh, put the flames in. I saw a Pinto one time at the flames coming from the back going forward.
Oh, we're going to find that picture real quick.
Yeah, backwards flame job, Pinto, something like that. Oh, there it is.
It will live in infamy. This paint job. Somebody had a really good sense of humor.
Well, sadly, some people got killed in a Pinto that had a big ass fire. But
and they knew there was dangers.
When you hear what happened,
it was pretty.
The Pinto was stopped making a left turn, and a second-gen Camaro, which is about a 4,000-pound car, rear-ended it at 70 miles an hour. It's like, crap, you know? What do you expect? Yeah, flammable. They even got a flammable sign on the back of it. At least that was the correct model. Yeah, right. And people give me a hard time about the Pinto wagons with the explosions, but you know, Ford fixed it. There's a fix on it. And every Pinto that came in my shop, I made sure that the recall was done, and I caught quite a few of them that the recall was not done. I sent them out to the Ford dealer and go get this done, and I hope they all did. But the wagon didn't have the problem. People got killed in a small cars and monsters on the street. Yeah, I mean, I worry about it today. In something like the Valiant, or in a small car. Kim just sold her, what was that thing you sold? A Chevy Sonic.
I did.
And, you know, here's something like a Chevy Sonic, and what's behind you? You know, a 1-ton 2023 Chevy pickup that's, what, probably 8,000 pounds, sitting way up in the air.
Yeah, how much does one of those Cybertrucks weigh?
Driving like idiots. You know, tailgating everybody. Yeah, I worry about that today.
Oh, crap.
I worry about that today. Paint an entire Pinto in its true flame. Yeah. People got killed in small cars with incineration. You know, that's another thing. These electric cars, crazy heavy.
They go up fast. And when they start burning, oh, that's bad.
But let's say you're in a small car that weighs a little over 2,000 pounds. You get rear-ended by a big four-door electric car. That's a
that weighs 6,000 pounds.
6,500 pound car smashing into you, you know, huh? Pinto, the horse with the explosive burning diarrhea.
The thing of it is, right, is at one time, gasoline-powered cars had issues with catching on fire. And they immediately, well, not immediately, but once people got killed, they recalled them and made repairs.
Well,
and then it was less frequent.
Ford was kind of forced to do it, but they did it. Yeah. I don't want to get into the politics of it, but still, it was a 4,000-pound car going 70 miles an hour hit a little car like that was stopped. And, yeah, sadly, people got killed. And, yeah, they probably could have prevented it, but, you know, that's a hell of an accident. They put a polycarbonate plate to stop the tank from striking. That's right. They put a plastic shield back there. I didn't think it was polycarbonate. It could have been. I thought it was a nylon shield. I remember it was kind of a semi-opaque looking shield. And then the tube. You can see where the gas cap is. There was a little tube that just stuck into the gas tank, and where that tube stuck in there, it didn't go into the gas tank very far. But when you undid that right behind the gas cap, there was some screws. You could take that tube out, and it just slid out, and then you remove the tank. But so when the car got hit in the ass end, the sides of the cars would pooch out like this and pull that tube out of the tank. So not only was that gas tank getting, punched into the rear end, but now that tube's out of there, so gas shoots out of there. So there were two parts to that fix. One was that plastic, whatever it was, shield to keep from punching holes in the tank. And the other thing was they made that tube real long. So you got hit in the ass end, the tube didn't pull out of the tank. And both those had to be done on the recall. A squareback Pinto is one I might not electrify. Why would you want to electrify? You're talking about the Pinto wagons. I had like a fleet of Pinto wagons and then the little vans, and I made some of the wagons into vans.
Big old cars can be a false sense of security because they do not necessarily have crumple zones. They don't have a lot of the safety features. Years and years of people collisioning their cars have taught, through feedback loops, auto manufacturers have learned how to make cars Well,
Well,
roll down a hill, it'll turn into a bubble of protective steel. There's like built-in roll cages and stuff like that in the design and crumple zones and whatnot, where the old ones were just big steel. When you hit something, you really hit.
um, not right now because you're in our live, so maybe write this down. Search YouTube for 1959 Chevy versus 2009 Chevy collision.
What, a video?
It's a video. Don't try to show it on here.
Okay.
But it's a collision. One of the ones where they hit not head on, but they hit like this, and you'll see the difference between the '09 Chevy with all the crumple zones and the '59 Chevy before any of that, and you watch how those two cars crush, and you'll understand what happened with all the crumple zones and everything, and the technology, what's happened since then is amazing. And that's probably one of the things that I don't like about having older cars is there's no crumple zones. So you got to be pretty careful. But, my old Studebaker, I probably will put some tubing up there, like roll cage kind of stuff I can hide up there. I think I've seen that. Yeah, it's a...
Bonnie and Clyde. Mexican spec, no.
understand.
Human lives are more important than old automobiles. Don't wreck your car if you don't want it to get wrecked.
Population control needs to happen. Well, I still think, it doesn't hurt to make things more survivable.
Yeah, you can always build a new car, buy a new car, something like that.
I used to work at that with the airplanes because airplanes real light meat thing, and if you hit the ground hard, I would rather have landing gear. Excuse me. Have the landing gear when the landing gear breaks, that absorbs a tremendous amount of energy, and I'd rather have that happen than something get rammed into your bottom end. So. 59 Chevy had an inline 6-0.
Oh, the rust!
But still look at that video. It's amazing what the difference is. All the rust that flies out of the old Chevy is amazing. Oh, on that video, I don't remember rust flying out of it, but maybe. That's not what I said, Kim. This may need to save lives in all aspects. Oh yeah, and she walked away. But she and I have had discussions about that. Safety, safety, safety. It's like Texas right now and Ohio with the safety. The safety, safety, safety. Don't let kids go to school because of the eclipse. It's like, what? It's like the Department of Emergency Services or something have told people not to let their kids go to school and they close schools because of the eclipse. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. An emergency? I can't imagine how somebody would get hurt because of an eclipse. It's craziness. But Department of Emergency Services. A lot of old style crash standards have much to do with people actually smacking into each other other than cause of margin. Well, just look at the inside of a car. They started padding things like dashboards, and people got hurt on sun visors the way they used to be because they were metal, Does heavy rust serve as a crumple?
Wayne, frame rot does count as
I think
impact resistant or impact crumpling.
I think
you actually get a discount on your insurance for that feature.
I remember hoods getting shoved through windshields. You can imagine what that does to you. And you know what they do? They started putting like little dimples in the braces and some big studs back there so the hood would run into the studs and the hood would fold in half. Yeah, eclipses are dangerous. Yeah,
now they sell brackets to override the crumple zone.
Danny boy, you live in Ohio. There's some, I don't remember what it was, Ohio Department of Emergency Services or something. They have told people to go out and buy food and fuel, gas for your car ahead of time because of the shortages that are going to be caused by the eclipse. It's like, you have to be shitting me. Some emergency services in the state of Ohio thinks that's... I just can't believe it.
Ron Bailey,
hello, welcome to the stream. Roy Bailey, I'm sorry. I saw Roy and I said, Ron.
Oh yeah,
Roy.
the non-collapsible steering columns were a real thing.
Oh yeah.
They used to put like points in the center of the steering wheel.
Yep. I saw a video of a woman driving her car the wrong way, running from the cop on the freeway and hitting a big rig. After she hit the rig, she ran from the car across the freeway.
That's methamphetamine, Mexican spec.
She's lucky she didn't get hit by a car on the other side. Yeah, you know, dumb criminals. I don't, you know, they didn't make cars safer to protect people like that. Ohio has the best drivers. Ed, gory films. Oh, I used to watch those films when I was taking driver education in 1970. We used to see those. The Eclipse will shut down Ohio. Ha ha. Eclipse burns eyes in lawsuits. Yeah. Who you gonna sue? Yeah, let's take the sun and the moon to court. Good Lord. Like I said, Buff, these takes questions are kind of, you know, I always talk about dumb criminals. I have a favorite, and Kim's so tired of hearing this story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. Texas officials, here we go. Texas officials warn people to stock up on food. Oh, in Texas now too. Stock up on food ahead of the solar eclipse. Are you shitting me?
Oh. Bad
So I don't know what that's about. But anyway, my favorite dumb criminal, and it's on YouTube. A guy went into a convenience store, puts a gun up in the face of the employee, and he goes, "Give me all your lottery tickets." She reels off all these scratchers and hands them to him. And he takes them outside and sits on the curb in front of the store and starts scratching them. What's he going to do if he wins? Goes back in with the winner? So then the police show up. And when the police show up, there's a trash can there, and he's putting all these lottery tickets in the trash can. Oh yeah, stuck up on toilet paper before the eclipse. I'm just, what is this? What is this? I can't read what it says.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'll read it, and then you can comment because you're gonna get all.
Oh I got the wrong glasses
Okay.
on to see that.
The longest duration of totality is 4 minutes and 28 seconds near Torreon, Mexico. Most places along the path of totality will see the sun blocked out for between 3.5 and 4 minutes. Make sure you stock up on enough food to survive for 3.5 to 4 minutes of total twilight-ish eclipse darkness.
So in Ohio,
That's
yeah,
enough
you
now.
better fill up your car and stock up on food for that.
You have to have enough food.
If he's in San Francisco, they'll just let him out anyway. I don't know what this is about. Chill it. What a shitty place. Is that, cool. I can't pronounce that name. I'm sorry. Torreon? Cool. I can't pronounce it. I'm sorry. I wish I could bring Mexican Spec's voice through because he can pronounce all this stuff correctly. So anyway, the dumb stuff on the news. That's why I can't watch news anymore. I just happen to see some of it.
Sometimes it seems like they're just making shit up to make you go, what?
So in Texas and Ohio, the eclipse is an emergency. I think the eclipse going to drive our dogs crazy. You know, I was in a total eclipse, last September? September, up in the Idaho-Oregon border area. And it didn't get completely dark. It got almost dark. But then right away it started getting lighter again. And the only thing we noticed, there were several of us standing there, and the friend I was with said, "Hey, you notice it's getting darker?" And he goes, I said, "Yeah, it is." And then it was getting light again. And it was kind of like a thunderstorm when dark clouds go over the sun. It was about that dark. And I'd say darkness from a thunderstorm lasted much longer than the eclipse. And I'm just amazed that any government would waste their time with this nonsense.
Keowalla.
Is where I lived. Yeah, you know where I was? I was real close to where you live. What was the name of that? It's the name of it's a city that's a city that you don't think of it being there. Earth is both round and flat. Look at a picture of it. If you've ever experienced one, Buff, it sure is. It is weird. Some greet this with fear and stuff instead of this is cool. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but you would think
I'm standing there with two other people.
educated political officials with staffs
wait a minute.
and are making crazy suggestions like stock up on food and supplies.
Yeah, I did. And what's the name of that place? Yeah, Ontario. I was real close to Ontario, Oregon. If you look at the path of the last one that was in September, it slips right through there.
Keowilla.
Say again?
Keowilla. Mexican spec at 1209. Well, about 3 comments down from the top.
Keowilla. Okay.
Sure.
Oh, I didn't know what that was. Now I know what it is. It's the pronunciation. Or probably Keowilla or Keowilla. Okay.
Yeah, the quacks who are in politics. Like, how do you get elected to? It clearly has nothing to do with
your politics in Texas, Oklahoma, and Ohio. Yeah, it's like I didn't know Oklahoma was also scared to death of the. I don't know, what are they thinking? You know, I just can't imagine. Yeah, and the flat earthers.
Military intelligence.
The flat earthers. Yeah, educated politicians. An oxymoron. Moron. There you go. What did I just see? What was the one I was telling you about? Oh, that's getting too much into politics. I don't want to discuss it. It was tax issues. It was stupid. I will say it now that I brought this far. In Colorado, they're trying to put make everybody that has a pet pay $8.50 a year for a permit to have a pet, including mice and, well, they didn't say mice. They said hamsters and fish. So if you have like an aquarium, you're supposed to pay $8.50 for each fish. Well, it looks like that's not going to pass. You know, I mean, that's some greedy officials sticking their hand in your pocket. Ontario, and I don't see Roy Bailey. What is that? What is that, Kim? Kim, I need your help. Oh, where dinosaurs were found. Ohio is the Texas of the North. You know, I lived in Ohio for 15 years. The only thing I really didn't like about Ohio was I was up by Lake Erie and the weather was, I got tired of the ice and snow. I really got tired of the ice and snow. My pet doesn't identify as a pet. It'd be like Canada. Oh, we're back to the dyno room.
We're back in the dyno room, folks.
Yeah, most automotive channels like dyno rooms, so we have a dyno room. Car, like Ford car, Buff. You know that car.
In case we have to do any testing.
Love a Ford car. When I was in the UK in 2009, one of the guys I worked with had a Ford car, and it had a leather interior, which he said was really unusual. It's a really nice Ford car, and I liked that thing. Man, I liked that car. But we didn't get them here. They got them in Mexico, but we didn't get them in the U.S. Yeah, there's an Ontario and California. That's what I was thinking. The Ontario. When you said you lived in Ontario, I knew you were in Southern California for a while. It surprised me it was Ontario, Oregon. Because Ontario, Oregon's kind of a small place. That is the newer Ford car.
What year are we talking?
Like the blue one up there in the middle. That one, yeah. That's the early Ford car.
I had that one up, but.
And that's the one I really like. And you see the instrument panel there. The middle one.
This one?
Nope. Next one over. That one. That's the Ford car. That's the first gen Ford car. and the one he had was all leather and everything. It was a beautiful car inside. I really like that. Never heard of it. I know. Ford Ka, cursive, Brit teens wanting to be cool. See, the guy I knew had the Ford Ka. He had it because his car broke down, and it was his wife's car. He goes, "Oh, this is a girl's car. Why do you like this?" And I go, "That's the new Ford Ka. I don't really like that. They kind of botched it up." But the yeah, so Mexican Spec says I have to wait 2 more years though for it to be legal. Uh, it's cut off Ford Fiesta. You know what? In 2 years, I got to start. Oh, that's it. That's the one that I like. In 2 years, I got to have enough money together to get Mexican Spec to get me a Ford Ka.
What, like $50?
$50. I bet you that thing will be $7 or $8 grand. Well,
What?
depends on what happens.
I
I think of the Ka as a modern gremlin. You know, they're tiny. What are you eating? It stinks. What are you eating?
Checks.
Something I'm not allowed to eat.
Corn checks. How bad?
No, it's like I can't eat carbs, so I wish I could eat it. I think of the Ka as the modern gremlin. Yeah, I used to hang out with some Brit car gals. It's not cool for them either. Yeah, well, this guy was actually the program manager for the thing I was working on, and he was embarrassed to be driving around, and I was like, man, I think this thing is cool. You know what I like about the Ford Ka? It's a little tiny car. It's a little 5-speed or 6-speed transmission or something. It's just like it's smaller than a VW Beetle, you know, and it was kind of a quick little tiny car. Kind of liked it, you know. If I could find one in decent condition, yeah. And of course, by the time they're old enough to import to the U.S., they will be, probably be harder to find a good one. Because, you know, it's a little cheap car. I didn't know they made convertibles. It was a little cheap car, and, you know, they're probably a throwaway car. So, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what all of the new EVs are, kind of throwaway cars. Their battery was with wheels, and, you know, they're not going to stand the test of time.
Get a Ford. Their mods don't. Rockers. I don't know. I just remember being in the UK and riding around in that car and just going, man, what a cool little car. Hello from North Dakota, Buick Smith. Welcome. Hi. Man, how long we been on? It's like people keep coming in and out.
It is over 3 hours.
Wow, it's just this fun though.
I do remember the Honda CRX. I almost bought one.
Earlier I was talking about a friend of mine that sat next to me in drafting class, and the other friend on the other side. We all turned into design. We were all designing cars, and the one on one side is designing airplanes. He ended up designing laser printers. I ended up doing airplanes. I was doing cars in drafting class. And the guy that sat on the other side of me was doing cars. He ended up actually with a job designing cars, and he led the design team on the first CRX, which is really cool, you know. We actually got to do the stuff we wanted to do that we were dreaming about in high school. Just, you know, any of us wouldn't want that at 17 if we had an alternative. Yeah, he says, yes, it's about that size. Yeah, that's the original CRX, isn't it? Is that the original CRX? It would have been like 1986, something like that. Mm-hmm. He also was on the design team that did the...
84 through 91.
Yeah, okay, so he did the one that was 80. You know, he's on the original design team. Little Hondas of CRX era were actually quite light, and you could scoot in and out of close quarters. Yeah, and that Ford Ka was the same way. We get in and out of anywhere. In England, the roads are narrow. They park on both sides of the roads, and you can barely get between the parked cars. And that Ford Ka just go around. It's great. I loved it. And of course, in England, you drive some giant American car, and I don't even know how you do that because the streets are narrow.
The Hondas were good cars too. They held up.
Look up it was a Honda everywhere else, but I think it was an Acura. What was the sports car? It looked kind of like a Ferrari. The Acura.
There's so many Acuras. There's a Legend.
Acura. No, not the sedans. Those look like a Ferrari. The Acura. People help me out. What was the Acura? NSX? NSX, I think. But there's new ones. So look at the old one, like 1990 or something. 19.
Oh, I remember the NSX.
Yeah, that's the new one. Look at the original, like in 1985. Oh, Jesus. They probably didn't have an 85. Look up, like, 1990. Yeah, see the red one in the middle?
This one?
Yeah.
That's 90 through 2005?
Yeah, look at that. My friend, the guy that sat next to me, that led the design team on the what was the first one you're looking at? Yeah, it's the NSX, the CRX. He was on the design team for this thing too, but he wasn't the leader of this one. Cars are more micro cars than minimal subcompact. Yeah, they're tiny. Yeah, the NSX. He was on the design team for that thing too. Hey, he was a really cool guy because he got to do all this stuff. He worked the first 2 years out of school. He worked at Saab in Sweden, and then he worked in for Honda, and their design studios were in Long Beach, California, and he worked there all the way till Detroit was falling apart, and they offered deals to automotive companies to relocate, and they relocated their design studios to Detroit, and at that point he went, nope, not going there, and he started working at the art center in Pasadena, California, which is an automotive design school, and he taught there for a while. I was talking to him one day about something I saw on TV with Chip Foose, and he goes, oh yeah, Chip Foose, he was one of my students. I go, you gotta be kidding me. Chip Foose was one of your students? He goes, yeah, but he didn't get into auto design. I go, yeah, he got into auto design, but he looks at auto design as working for a manufacturer. Of course, Chip Foose got into auto design doing hot rod stuff. I think Chip Foose is great. Old NSX was great. Stock wheels were criminally bland when they came out. I remember the first NSXs. I loved that car, but of course, I never had big money, so I couldn't buy anything like that. I have a first gen RAV4, but the 5-speed went to crap after 300,000 miles. Yeah, it only lasted 300,000, but always wanted to put in 3SGT rally engine. They bolt in without much hassle, 120 horsepower, up to 280. See, and I know so little about those cars. Yeah. You want a CRK with 280 horsepower? Okay, another cough drop. My throat's starting to get dry. I gotta do something about it. Sorry, man, RAV4.
Oh, my butt's getting sore. I'm sitting in this chair.
Your butt's getting sore. Do you have a little pillow?
No.
I have a towel folded in half on my bed that I use on hard chairs.
I think it's winding down. A couple people have gone.
Yeah. We've been on what, 3 hours and something?
We've been on for over 3 hours. We had a great time.
We'll be back Tuesday.
Yeah. We have to leave something to talk about on Tuesday. We don't want to run out of content.
When I sat down here, I had no idea what I was going to talk about. I figured I had 5 minutes and I'd be out of.
And you guys made it fun. This has been great.
You people made
it didn't feel like this long. We had fun.
Made this fun. So, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, U.S. Central Time. And you're going to have to figure out what time that is your time. So.
And, we could talk about pretty much anything. Honestly, this is just supposed to be a good time. So we'll try and bring a topic, but we don't have to stay on topic. We're not that organized anyways.
NSX has always had the problem of costing more than the competition. That was faster for the people that wanted faster. The thing I liked about the NSX, it looked cool. It was a mid-engine car like a Ferrari or something, and it was just, you could probably drive an NSX for 100,000 miles with little trouble. And if you get a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or something like that, you pay huge money, and you're going to have trouble, Okay, We're done.
Thanks for everyone who came and commented, or if you just watched. We appreciate you being here, and we hope to see you again soon. And that is going to be the end of the stream.
Take care. Good night.